We're live. Debate 16. I am Ice White, creator of Game Global. I'll be acting as moderator and hosting this debate between Mr. Locario, Rob Kowalski, Maverick Marquez, and AbuAmerican, Craig Little. Super chats, $5 USD or more will be read out, potentially increasing according to demand. Check the pinned message in the chat for that. Every single guy here is super solid. There's a lot to be learned from all of these guys, regardless of your own opinions. Let's give a little rundown on who's actually here. We got Big Daddy Craig Little, AbuAmerican. Also, he has 11 children and two wives, and that's only because he got rid of his third wife.
Yeah.
So there's that. We got some crazy stuff here. We got Maverick Marquez, free kids, two wives. I don't probably more plans for the future. What's going on, Mav? What's going on for the future?
Yeah, no, I just married my second wife last May, so obviously future kids are definitely in the hopefully in the works, God willing. So yeah, we're working on more children and also potentially open to more wives too, if the Lord calls me to it. So, but again, let His will be done, not my own. So, well, we're 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 waiting to see what He has in store for us.
Alrighty, we got Rob. He's going to join in a few minutes. He's running a little late, and we got Mr. Locario,
What up?
our guy who's been around in a lot of Game Global videos is super solid guys here.
I'm a big fan of Game Global. That's a fact. Big fan.
Bring it all together. He keeps coming back, so it says something. I'm such a nice person. Anyway. Mr. Ocario, you said a few things in the chat a few weeks back during the Polygyny deep dive of the dating coach panel. You disagreed with the guys saying that sleeping with lots of women hasn't left you empty. What were some of the things that you disagreed with during that Polygyny panel, which the other guys here were part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was just one of the things that caught my attention, because I think it's a big thing a lot of guys say, because what happens is that a lot of people in general put sex on a pedestal, right? And so what happens is that the reason why a lot of guys feel empty, because a lot of guys will come from the, let's say, pickup artist community. I haven't had sex with women. I have a hard time getting girls. So then what happens is that once they start to find out, okay, I can get a girl, I can have sex, they go through this thing where they have a bunch of sex, a bunch of sex, and a bunch of sex. So after they have all this sex, they're like, damn, I feel empty inside, because they were thinking that the sex was going to solve some type of problem, or they think that the sex was going to be something that was going to make them happy, because that's what they were searching for the entire time. So then what happens is that once they've had all this sex, they feel empty because they were expecting the sex to fulfill them, right? And my thing is that sex is a great thing, but it's not special. So just enjoy the sex for what it is. You see what I'm saying? So for example, let's take sex out of the conversation. Let's replace sex with a cheeseburger. If I had a hard time getting cheeseburgers and I say, man, I really want some cheeseburgers, and I start eating a cheeseburger, I get access to the cheeseburger. And then I'm like, man, this cheeseburger is going to make me happy. I keep eating a lot of cheeseburgers. And then after I eat all these cheeseburgers, I still have the problems in my life, right? I still have issues with whatever I have issues with. I still feel some type of way about something, right? So I thought that when I attained this thing that I wanted so great, which is this cheeseburger, that was going to solve all the problems. But then once I realized that it doesn't, I feel empty because the expectation of what I wanted is not being fulfilled. So it's the same thing with sex, is that guys think that sex is going to fulfill some void. And what I'm saying is the reason why I never felt empty having a bunch of sex is because I was never looking for sex to fulfill me. I only had sex because I like the activity of sex. I enjoy it. It's pleasurable. And I use it for what I want. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing. I think a lot of times the problem is this, attainment of sex is like, man, if I can get it, then it'll solve these problems. And once you do get it and you realize it doesn't solve the problems, that's where the emptiness comes in. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Any responses to that from you guys?
Yeah, actually, I'm not too far off from you, Mr. Locario. I do think that there is a difference as a man who has had a great deal of sex. And
Mm,
again, I've only come to this revelation that was given to me, by God in my spiritual walk just a couple of years ago.
mm,
However, prior to that, I was changing my women like I changed my underwear. I mean, and I agree with you. I think that just like money, what I always say, money just amplifies what you already are. If you
mm,
don't have the correct ground frame and true desire to do good, it's just gonna again magnify what you already are.
mm,
So no, by all means, I don't. I agree that men who seek sex as a way of being able to deal with some of these issues, yeah, that's definitely not the way. However, I will go beyond that to say that there are several studies beyond what the detrimental effects are for men who sleep with just a lot of women who ultimately do not end up, looking to settle down and all of those things go from, and there's been countless studies and research on this. So all this is all verifiable and factual. Lower marital status satisfaction when you do finally do get married, higher risk of divorce, difficult forming a pair of bonds, reduced relationship commitments, higher rates of depression, lower life satisfaction in your midlife, increased risks of sexually transmitted diseases, obviously, economic and career underperformances, usually right around the age of 40, which I think we're kind of somewhere all around, higher all cause of mortality. There's just those countless things that I think that are can be ultimately detrimental to men. I know myself too, as a somebody who was once had the family establishment, with creating a family and then ended up divorced. I filled that void, like you just talked about, with a bunch
mm,
of sex, and it was a temporary. It was like putting Band-Aid on cancer. It felt good in the moment, but what did I ultimately long for was to, again, seek that partnership with somebody or multiples in our scenarios for those of us that practice polygyny. And I can sit there and say that in the last, 4 years now, I've been with, just my wives, and I did have a couple, well, uh, people where I thought were going to be entering my life, and that didn't end up panning out. But
mm.
nevertheless, it was not nearly what I was doing before, and I've never been happier in the sense of having my wives who I can ultimately obviously perform my marital covenants with and have good sex life with as God intended. But again, we're talking about a religious standpoint versus a non-religious point. So we'll dive into that if it permits, but if not, we'll stick to the topic. And I think that ultimately for us, I would sit there and say that again, it is not in a man's best interest to just have a lot of sex if, like you said, if that's where you're going with it, if you're ultimately trying to use it to fill your void for whatever it is that's in your life. So with that, I will open it up to anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, fundamentally, I don't have a problem with what Mr. Locario just said. I mean, sex is highly enjoyable. I'm a man with 11 children. I mean, imagine how many times there was, we didn't strike and have a kid. So you got to imagine, I absolutely enjoy sex. And I think also, by design, it's supposed to be like that. One of the things I tell the guys, or I used to tell, I'm not so active on social media anymore with like making content, but what I used to always tell the Muslim guys is like, stop stressing over women because you want them, but they want to be wanted. You want to get them and they want to be got. So it's like, everybody enjoys sex. I mean, I don't fundamentally, I don't have a problem with that. My problem in general is the ethical and moral, which comes from, like Mr. Maverick was talking about, is from a religious standpoint. In my specific case, Islam. And when we start to look at like just the pursuit of pleasures and the lack of deferral of gratification in general, in doing what comes easy and feels good, there's always going to be a detrimental effect individually and on a whole. On a whole, we see the problem in the society in general right now. I mean, society in the West is a mess. It's just absolute degeneracy. And we have to accept, even in this age of like solipsism and personal interests, that we do live in a society, and there is a significant degree of reciprocity and the need for us to behave in a way that's conducive to the furtherance of our society. And I don't think that going around, everybody's always so let me jump around here real quick. A lot of guys used to say, I want a wife, I want a good girl, I want a virgin, this, that, the other. And then at the same time, you see like guys going out and making a bunch of whores. You know what I mean? So where do we draw the line at? Okay, I do want to pursue my personal interest, but at the same time, I live in a society. I like the society I live in. I want it to succeed. I want it to succeed for my children. I want it to be a good place for my children, because none of us are gonna live forever. And we want to see the furtherance of that. So where in that do my actions, where my personal needs and desires, where I have to limit them at some point. This is my whole thing. And for me, obviously I can go further into, the Islamic perspective and standpoint on it, which recognizes the male desire for females and gives you the opportunity to marry up to 4 wives. It makes divorce easy, so that if you do want to divorce a woman, you can go out and divorce her and marry another one and whatnot. So there are options there. You find culture. Am I going too far out for you guys, or should I continue?
No, keep going. Keep going.
You mind if I jump in?
So
let's just tag in Rob, because he's a
Okay,
little
sorry.
late, and then we'll
All right,
jump
all right.
back to you. So Rob has joined us now. He's got 1 wife so far and a baby on the way, at least 1. We don't know if they're twins or whatever, or triplets, or so on. Rob, want to give yourself a quick intro and respond to anything so far?
Sure. Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you good?
Okay, good. Cool. First off, good to meet you, Mr. Locario.
What's up?
How old are you?
I am 44.
Oh, you're okay. I thought you were like a young 20-something-year-old.
Nah, I just look good. It's the black. It's the black.
Okay.
Don't crack.
53. Black don't crack.
Is it
That's what it
black
is.
don't crack?
Black don't crack.
Exactly.
Okay.
53, man.
Well, I know at least 2 of us are older than you here. Maverick, how old are you?
Yeah, 42.
Okay, 42. So he's about your age. But I was going to say, like, I don't want to look at this as a debate, because it's, I look at you and I'm like, I see myself probably. There's a couple guys. I don't know what Craig, you were promiscuous, but I know me and Maverick were big man whores. When I just want to speak to you like a friend, or maybe a slightly younger brother, and just hopefully convince you of this is the better path. But I do expect you to push back and tell me what you believe. But let me just introduce myself first. My name is Rob Kowalski. I discovered the truth about biblical marriage, polygyny, that includes polygyny, a little over 2 years ago. I used to be a big man whore, slept with over 500 women. I was a club promoter and a stripper before I met Jesus, and then I believed in the monogamy only, doctrine. I didn't even question it, to be honest, and I assumed God was going to give me this unicorn at some point if I didn't sin long enough. So that led to me being abstinent and single through. It was about 18. It was a combined 18 years of 23 years of following Jesus. So I fell off and I went crazy for a while. But so I'm speaking to this subject as someone who's done both. Like I would say to Mr. Locario, we've done what you've done. You probably haven't done what we've done. So that's, just consider that. But I'll ask you the same question that I asked Rich Cooper when he was on my podcast. I said, do you believe in karma?
Yeah, of course. Karma is just really action. It's if I do this, like, so basically, if I work hard at my business, the karma is I get money. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's really all it is. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of people that don't, because it's hard to have a conversation if you're not a Christian necessarily, because I could say the Bible says this or that, and you're like, whatever, I don't believe the Bible. Okay. But most people believe the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Every religion basically believes that. So you got to think about these women, right? That they are someone's daughter, someone's maybe mother, sister, whatever. So like, if you're using them for pleasure and tossing them back, because we all know in red pill, at least I hope you know, it does lower a woman's worth. The higher her body count goes. Nobody's going to want to buy that car. She's been giving it out for free. So we're literally lowering her value. Most people, again, in red pill, no female promiscuity is a big cause of a lot of the dumpster fire that we see nowadays. And the thing that I don't like about red pill is we see the world's burning, or they see the world's burning, and then they bring marshmallows to, it's like they're keeping their hands warm versus manning up and let's say, okay, well, how do we fix this mess? Right. And it's going to take some strong men with a voice like yourself to go, you know what? This probably ain't the right path. And it's not even that it's not the right path. Something I said on ICE's polygyny panel, I just think it's the better path. Because, look, it is fun. No doubt promiscuity is fun. I had a great time while I was doing it. In the moment, it felt great, but it was empty. At the end of the day, I heard somebody say, when a man is off of his purpose is when he diverts to pleasure. And I can tell you that's 100% true. Because when I'm getting after my purpose in life, yeah, I mean, of course I want to have sex, but it's not like it doesn't become the main thing. So I think a lot of guys that make that the main thing is what's your purpose? Because if you were getting after it, for me, I believe that women were created to be helpmates. They're there to help me accomplish my God-given mission. And if I can do that with 3 women instead of 1, then I think God's okay with it. And but I'm not going to get women to help me with my mission if I'm just screwing them and throwing them back in the water. They're going to think I'm an asshole. And this is how it always played out for me. It didn't matter how honest I was, because you could say, well, I tell the girls, I used to tell them too. I would even say, don't have sex with me because I'm not looking for anything. And they'd be like, no problem. And they would say, that's okay. We can just have sex. 100% of the time, I became the asshole as soon as I didn't want to only have sex with them. Now, again, I'm not saying that we need to be monogamous, but if you're upfront and you say, listen, like I told my wife, I'll never cheat on you and I'll never divorce you. There may be other wives. Okay. But I'm never going to cheat on you. I'm never going to divorce you. So now she's on board and she helps me a lot with my mission. And any woman if I ever marry anymore, they'll do the same. So that's what I would tell you is man, let's figure out what your purpose is and get dialed in. And you may know it. I'm not taking a shot at you, but then let's get some women to help you with that. And then as many as you can cover, as many as you're going to protect and provide for, God's okay with. You can have 10 wives and God's fine with that. But why just use them? For lack of a better term, why just have sex with them and throw them back in the water? Because that's a man's future wife that you're banging.
No, and this is the thing. See, I agree with most of what you're saying. The only part one of the parts that I want to know is, where'd you get the idea that a woman's value lowers when she has sex?
Well, it's proven that the divorce rates for women that have 10 or more sex partners are the highest. Okay, so that's not good. But as a man,
but this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, how is the correlation based on sex? Because I've never heard of someone getting married and they fill out a form that said, I had sex with these many partners, then they get married and then they get divorced. And they're like, oh, well, we looked at all the stats and we've had all these women who jotted down how many men they had sex with. And this is the exact reason why the relationship ended. Where does that at?
Okay, let me
jump in real quick.
Well, let me just say one thing in it. Let me just say one thing real quick. This is what I believe. Well, first off, I don't know if you saw the absolute roasting that Andrew Wilson was taking online this week because he married a woman with two divorces and 3 baby daddies, and people were just giving it to him because sexual marketplace. She's a low value woman, like it or not. I don't make the rules, but I believe that sex is a connection mechanism. Biologically, women pair bond through sex. When they orgasm, they have a flood of something called oxytocin. It's a hormone that makes them attached to you. Okay. So if a woman has multiple, sex partners, every time she has an orgasm, she attaches to that man. It's like glue. And then she pulls away. And then she attaches. And then she pulls away. And then after a while, she's not so sticky anymore. She can't pair bond to the man that she eventually falls in love with. That's why it's bad.
So how do you explain sex workers who are married?
I don't know about sex workers who are married, but I guess there's exceptions.
Or non-monogamous women who are married. You have women who are non-monogamous who have sex with multiple men and they're in healthy marriages.
I would say that proves it's true, because why do they need to have sex? Any woman I've ever dated, they only want to have sex with me. The fact is that they couldn't pair bond with the guy, and they're needing something to fill whatever is missing in that relationship.
No. You said, notice what I'm saying. You said bond in a relationship, which means that we're bonding non-sexually, yes?
No, ask again, I didn't follow.
Okay, so if what do you mean by bonding? That means we are actually in a relationship and we bond. So that means we get
Pair bonding.
together. Right. We get together in this pair. It's me and this person. And then we, as a pair, are bonding non-sexually, like meaning we're having an actual relationship.
No, I said women bond when they orgasm. They cleave, is what the Bible says. They cleave and become one flesh. They release this oxytocin and they attach. This is why women get clingy after sex.
No, this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, let's say you have, for example, a woman who's a porn star and she's been married to her husband for 20 years. So what I'm saying is, how is she able to bond to that man for 20 years?
What I'm saying is there's exceptions to every rule. Exceptions don't make the rule untrue. They actually prove the rule.
No, but this is what I'm saying. That's not the exception. What I'm saying is there's porn stars, sex workers, swinger couples,
Those are exceptions.
other people who are in non-monogamy. Because when we talk about non-monogamy is a broad thing. It's not just a man in a polygynous relationship. You see what I'm saying? So you have polyamorous relationships that go all across the board, which means that you have women who have main, I don't like to use the word partner, but they have main people that they're in a relationship with, that they bond with, and they're together for years. That's what I'm saying.
I would say they're not bonded that well because they wouldn't need other partners. But here's, at the end of the day, numbers don't lie.
But then by your logic, then that means that you're.
Let me just finish what I'm saying, because the numbers don't lie. At the end of the day, women with 10 or more sex partners have the highest divorce rate. And we can pull that up. So you could say, oh, I know somebody that played the lotto and won. That doesn't mean I'm going to make it my retirement plan. You know, like shit happens. I mean, yes, once in a while somebody gets lucky, but the facts is women with the highest sex partners have the highest divorce rates, and you can't get around that.
Right, because you're talking about statistics where they say 76.3% of statistics are fake.
Let's just pull it up.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is,
okay. Can I jump in real quick?
They're saying that 73.6% of statistics are fake. Now, let's say that's a fake statistic. Let's say what I just said is fake. That's a double bind. So that means that either if that's true that most statistics are fake, then that means most statistics are bullshit. But if that statistic is fake, then that means that you can't trust statistics because that statistic is fake. Okay, that's called a double bind.
Let's go back to what you said, because I think everyone would disagree with this. You don't think that a woman with a high body count is worth any less than a virgin?
No, what makes her less?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Right, can I jump in right there?
So
I think every single man, yourself included, Mr. Locario, if you're given the option of marriage, you said you were married before.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I don't know what your plans are, but let's just use a hypothetical here. And we're given the option of multiple women, a virgin, 2 to 5 partners, 50 plus partners. Who are we going to pick if they're all equal in education, beauty? General standards are all the same. Who are you going to pick for a wife?
I'm going to pick I'm going to fuck all of them, and I'm going to pick the one I'm most sexually compatible with.
Okay, but they're all in general the same. Whatever. So sexual compatibility that's a matter of like time with an individual.
No, not necessarily.
A woman who has like 200, who's had 200 partners, she has a lot of sexual experience, but if there's no compatibility there, it's just going to be bad sex.
Right, but you can also have bad sex with a virgin.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So why would I pick so if I have bad sex with a virgin, why would I pick her to be married?
Let's say risk in there. You have the risk of bad sex with a virgin or the risk of a bad sex with someone with 200 partners. Who would you pick as a lifelong partner?
I'm going to pick none of them because it's all bad sex. So I'm going to pick who has. So if I have sex with a virgin,
this is genius though, brother. Come on, man.
No. But that's my point. It's about compatibility and it's about what I like. So what I'm saying is, see, this is the issue with a lot of this stuff, and it's not. And it may be because, and I don't like to bring the religion into it, but see, there's a difference between doing things based on what you want to do versus doing things based off of going towards what your religion wants or what society says to do. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is a lot of this is why I asked the question about a woman's count being lowered, because what I'm saying is logistically, if we say a woman's value is decreased by the amount of men she had sex with, then we're essentially saying that men are low value. Because you're saying that her value decreases as the guys are having sex with her.
Yes, because she has no discretion.
I can safely say that the vast majority of men, given those options, will take the lower count woman.
Yeah.
This is
No, I'm
this
not
is
saying they
actually-
wouldn't. No,
Yeah,
this is what
I
I'm saying.
know.
I agree with you.
So
I totally
value
agree
is
with you.
assigned
You would.
automatically just by the nature of men. The
No,
nature
no,
of men
no.
in general is to take a woman that has a lower count. That's just
No,
their nature.
that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. What I'm saying is the reasoning why they would is because they don't think for themselves. You
No,
understand what I'm
it's
saying? So a lot of guys are indoctrinated to have that insecurity, which is why they are worried about the body count. Because like you said, because check this out. Rob is saying the statistics say this. So if I'm an average dude, I'm going to be like, well, wait a second. The statistics say that women who have this amount of sex more likely are not going to be able to pair bond, which means that I'm not. What's the point of getting with her? But the reason why the guy is saying that is because he doesn't think for himself. He's
Rob,
thinking
please,
based
my
on
man.
what he heard. That's what I'm
No.
saying.
So
here's the deal.
if I may,
Let
Rob,
me just
please.
say, go ahead. Can I say one thing?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize, but please allow me. I know, but give me a second here. The reason why I have this thing that I call the bullshit test, Mr. Locario. And the bullshit test is, will this argument stand in a completely different position in place? So we go to a restaurant, and they put 3 cups on the table. We have the 3 women. 3 cups of water are poured equally. One person drinks out of a cup. Another person comes drink out of a second cup. So the second cup is drank out of 3 times. And the third cup is drank out of like 150 times. The first cup has not been touched. Which one in the restaurant are you going to drink? This is not socialized in you to take the cup that has not been touched by any man. This is not socialization. This is not like he's following somebody else. It's just the nature of people in general.
The problem with that metaphor is that the cups, right? When you drink them, it has your contamination in it. A woman's vagina can wash itself out.
Right. Well, can I jump in?
What if there has
That's what
been a
he's
dick
talking
in the
about.
cup?
Unless something's been deposited in it that's not going away. I mean, unless she's been given the gift that keeps on giving. I mean,
Yep.
let's. We don't know
Yeah.
exactly what's been in there, and that's why I think for
AIDS,
most men,
you know?
they're going to take the
Sorry, Rob.
least
Thanks.
amount of risk when laying with a woman. But I do agree with what you said, Mr. Locario, when it comes down to compatibility. In my position in all of this is once again, from as a former man whore, yes, fantastic, great. I played Russian roulette many times. By the grace of God, I never caught anything. But I mean, that's literally by His graces and His graces alone. But for me, what I would say, and I think that most of the men here would agree with, is that it doesn't really matter when it comes down to what you're referring to as far as the sexual compatibility, because all of that's going to go out the door pretty soon anyway. I mean, I don't care how many women I've been with. The moment I'm with a woman for more than 6 months, the dopamine levels are going to lower. You know, I'm going to constantly crave. Men want variety. That's just how we're built. You know, we're going to constantly always desire something new. The same part of the dopamines that control in your brain, the same ones that control your taste buds as well. Which is why you may only need water to live, but every now and then you're going to want a lemonade. You're going to want tea. You're going to want something else. It's literally how we're designed. And I believe, you know, again, that's by God's design. However, when all of that is said and done, it is the compatibility that makes that relationship long sustaining. It's what happens when all of a sudden now I'm 60 years old, my sex drive isn't what it used to be. I'm not just sitting there trying to get with every girl under the sun. Am I compatible with this person? I think that's where the fulfillment of a genuine relationship comes into play for men who are married and seek a long-term relationship with somebody. It's because they want that person who's going to be their ride or die, take care of them when I can no longer wipe my own ass because, you know, of injuries or whatever else that's happened in life. Do I have that person or women who are going to stand behind me, or are they going to trade me off and go do exactly what I was doing all the other years to the women and just, okay, well, I'm on to the next best thing. So I think there's a mutual respect there when it comes down to the relationships.
No, and I'm glad you said that. And this is what I want to ask you. So let's say you have that ride or die, and then you've been with her for how many years, and she's all on point. Everything is cool. You guys are together, and then you find out she has 100 body count. She admits it 15 years later. Is that going to be an issue?
No. So
that's what I'm saying. So
no.
what's the difference?
And I agree with you. And I agree with you on that sense. I think that's where we're talking about as far as the dating pool goes. It's not about if she's been there, done that, and has proven herself. I think it's more so when you're first getting to know this person and you are in the courtship phase of the relationship. and you're talking to a girl who goes, well, you know what? Yeah, I've been, married 10 times and I've been with 20 different men and have 5 different baby daddies. I'm going to sit there and say, okay, what's the common denominator here? What's the problem? It's you, and
Right.
I'm going,
But that's what my point is that if she doesn't say any of that and then you get with her and then y'all get together, you get married, the marriage is awesome. She's on point. She's the ride or die. What I'm saying is that later on she tells you what's the difference? What's the point?
Can I speak up?
Yeah, go ahead.
If your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle, right? We can always play the game of if. If you spent $1,000 a week on lotto tickets and at the end of 5 years you hit the Powerball for $10 billion, would you regret it? No, I wouldn't regret it. Well, spend $1,000 on lottery tickets every week, because if you hit the Powerball, you won't regret it. We can always play this game. But here's, at the end of the day, women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gate. Yes, they are. Women say 99.9% of the time, even a hideous woman can get laid by a different man 5 times a day, 5 different men every day of the week, even if she's butt ugly. A man cannot do that. We have to achieve something to be promiscuous. Do you disagree?
No, Rob, I think it's funny. I think it's ironic that you sound very red pill. I don't agree with red pill.
Disagree?
No, women are not the gatekeepers of anything.
So you're saying any man can be promiscuous. Any man can be promiscuous. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Any man. Okay, so it doesn't matter if he's obese and he's poor. He can get laid by a different woman every night.
Yeah, if he's sexually attractive to those women, yes.
No. I just said hideous. I said a hideous woman.
You said if the guy is hideous.
Yeah, he's hideous. They're both equally hideous.
No, what I'm saying is, no matter how you look, if you find somebody who is attracted to you sexually, you can fuck them.
Here we go. If again,
no, but that's the point. That's what I'm saying is a different.
Everybody knows.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The reason why you're saying that women are the gatekeepers of sex is because, like I said, most guys who are average dudes, right? They're the ones begging women for sex. What I'm telling you is that when you have game, women want to have sex with you. And so what I'm saying is that how is she gatekeeping when you're choosing and giving women the opportunity to get with you, and you're choosing who gets to get your dick? That's what I'm saying.
What percentage of men have that?
The ones who have game, a small percent.
Small percent. There you go. Now,
Right.
What percentage of women can go out and get laid every night by a differerent man?
Oh yeah, a lot of women can get laid by a different guy.
So we're in agreement that
no, but that doesn't. No, but that's what I'm saying. That
Yes.
doesn't mean that she's the gatekeepers of sex. She's the gate. No, this is what I'm saying. She's the gatekeeper of sex to losers. That's what I'm saying. To guys who are beta males and losers. And what I'm saying is most guys are beta males and losers. So what I'm saying is that if you are a man, she's not the gatekeeper or nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but to a small percentage of men, like you just said. But the fact remains.
Right, but can you choose to be the
finish.
man though?
The fact remains that the majority of men will sleep with the majority of women. But not the majority of women will not sleep with the majority of men. That makes them the gatekeepers of sex.
But who chooses? Doesn't a man choose who he wants to be?
You're saying a small percentage of men, exceptional men, and exactly what I said. I said you have to achieve something to be promiscuous as a man. As a woman, you do not have to achieve anything.
So what I'm saying is that are they the gatekeepers, or are men choosing to be losers and have the women as gatekeepers?
You can slice it whatever way you want.
No, but that's my point. My point is the man is choosing to be a loser, and then therefore that's what creates the idea she's the gatekeeper. That's what I'm saying.
She is the gatekeeper.
Yeah, if you choose to be a loser, yes, I agree with you. We're in agreement.
Okay,
what I'm saying is you have to add on that point, because what you're saying is you're making it seem as a whole that's just how it is. Well, women are the ones who control sex. No, women control sex for men who are losers.
But that's the majority of men by your own definition.
Right. And what I'm saying is those men are choosing to lose. That's what I'm saying. It's not like they're losers just because.
You're saying that women's value don't drop if they have a high body count. By your own admission, you just said that the majority of men are losers. So that means that they let a majority of losers fuck them. That's why.
No, but they don't let a majority of losers fuck them. They let a majority of winners fuck them.
How do you know that?
Because women generally will have sex with the guys that they're sexually attracted to quickly. The guys who they're not sexually attracted to, they're going to make those guys wait. That's exactly why women say to guys, let's get to know each other more. Can we talk more? Let's go on 3 or 4 dates. But the guys that they want to have sex with, that sexy guy they met at the club, they have sex with him in the bathroom. So what happens is that these women meet the guys that they want to have sex with those guys quickly, and they make the betas wait. That's what I'm trying to say.
I get it, but
and then the betas think that she can't pair bond, but the reason why that she can't pair bond to the beta is because she chose the beta to marry. That's what happens. And she don't really like him.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing though. At the end of the day, the women, if they have a high body count, the chances that they ran into all those men were high value. They were that tiny percentage that you just said of men that are exceptional, and yet you slept with 200 guys, bitch. Damn. Like, how'd you even find 200 guys if it was only a small percentage of them that are exceptional, which you just said?
Because there's how many men are there on earth? There's more than 200 exceptional dudes. What I'm saying is that a woman
she
could
found
find
them all. And she found them all.
Right, and she can have sex with all those dudes. What I'm saying is this: she wants those 200 guys. She wants to marry those 200 guys. Those 200 guys don't want to marry her. So what does she do? She says, okay, well, these 200 guys don't want to marry me, so I'm going to marry the beta loser. So she's like, I'm going to settle for him. Now the beta loser says, damn, she can't pair bond because she had sex with all these guys. No, she can't pair bond because she doesn't want to bond to you because you're a loser. It's not simple.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying she slept with 200 guys.
All things being equal, back to what Craig said, all things being equal, if the sexual compatibility was exactly the same with the virgin or the girl with 200 members, 200 sexual partners, most men, and I'm not going to say to you, but most men would choose the virgin because she hasn't been around. Now, that woman with 200 partners, she's going to be comparing you to the 200 men that fucked her before that. Some of those guys probably had bigger dicks. Some of those guys fuck better than you. So, personally, I'll take the virgin. Would I rather have a new car or a car with 200,000 miles on it? I take a new car. Thank you.
Rob, that's my point. You agree with me. See, the only a loser would care about the guy she had sex with. She's like, well, maybe he has a bigger dick than me. Maybe. Why would you even be thinking about that when you're you're supposed to be the man. You're supposed to be the one of one. So why do I care about who she was with before?
It's a numbers game. We could hit the lotto, but I'm not going to put $1,000 on lotto tickets.
Right, but this is what I'm saying.
It could work out. It could work out 10 years down the road. And but she didn't leave the guy. I'm not even talking necessarily to me or you. Most guys that watch this are not going to be in that top 3% of men. So you got to play the odds. Okay, better to have a girl with a low body count because she's not going to be comparing you to every guy that's fucked her before that.
But shouldn't we be teaching men to be the best men they can be so they're not worried about other guys? Why are we going to the lowest common denominator? We're basically saying, hey, men, listen, because this woman is with all these other guys, you can't compete because you're a loser. So what you need to do is find a woman who's never had any experience so you'd be the best to her. Because listen, you're not that awesome. So therefore, she's not going to tell the difference that you're a loser because she's never had anybody else. So why don't you just get this?
Why would I put all this work? Why would I put all this work into myself as a man and then go give any kind of commitment away to a woman that was freely giving out sex to men before that? I wouldn't do it.
Well, I think
it's like buying a rental car.
That puts us into a situation of us as men. I mean, I don't know, Mr. Locario, do you have children?
No, I don't have any kids.
Okay, so then we're probably in a situation where you really can't relate in that sense because, see, I have 2 daughters. Now, I promise you as a man, I'm going to teach my daughters to value themselves. And yes, me and Rob, we run a coaching program for men to level up. That's what we want all men to do, like you said, to where you are the king, you are the prize, like you said. They're not going to gatekeep anything because at the end of the day, they should be seeking us out. So in that we agree. And with that being said, though, I will also tell my daughters, you are, again, coming from the religious portion of it, you're a daughter of the Most High. You're a daughter that belong. You're royalty. And royalty does not act a certain way. And so therefore, I'm going to make sure that I'm teaching my daughters to respect themselves and to obviously want the very, very best for them, which is going to be a fellow member of royalty, a fellow king, somebody who's going to do right by them, who's going to, treat them the way that they want to be treated. Because at the end of the day, when it's your daughter and you're going, well, shoot, I sure as hell don't want men doing to my daughter what I know I did to so many women. I think that right there speaks so much volume, in life when you are in that situation where now it's your flesh and your blood and you do everything in your power to protect, to make sure that she is the very most high value, looked at upon by those who actually desire to love and care for her.
So you want your daughter to date a simp? That's what you're saying?
No, I want my daughter to date a fellow king.
Can I touch the value topic, please? Because or a loser topic. I think that's also kind of disingenuous and dishonest to say that a man who doesn't want a woman with a high body count is a loser. I dare say the man that accepts a woman with a high body count is a loser. Because what is the point and the purpose of leveling up, becoming the best that you can be so that you can get the best that you can afford and achieve to take something that everybody has had? Value is derived from scarcity. And if she has been accessible to everyone and everything, where's the value?
So you're saying God don't have no value?
No, God has a lot of value.
But he's accessible to everyone and everything.
Not everybody. No, he's accessible, but how many people actually do the work to reach him?
No, but what I'm saying, but by your logic, God has no value.
Don't.
God has no value then.
No. See, in Islam, let me tell you a quick story from Islam. I mean, probably not interested, but I'll tell you anyway. When Allah created heaven and hell, he told the angels to go and look at them. And when the angels went and looked at heaven, they said, it's amazing. Everybody will want to enter. And then when they went to hell, they said, it's horrible. Nobody will want to enter. And then he said, okay, now go back and look again. And when they went back, they said, he put difficulties and hardship around paradise. You have to work for it. Just like in this world, just this world we live in, if you want nice stuff, you got to work for it. And he made paradise the same way. He said, you have to work for it. And the angel said, there's so much work surrounded around it, I think that nobody will enter. And then they went to the hellfire, and the opposite was true. They said it's surrounded by so many pleasures and so much just, we'll call it degeneracy, that I fear nobody, that everyone will enter into it. So yeah, Allah has value. God has value because it's not something simple. You just don't just walk up and just like, hey, I do whatever I want, however I want, after you created me for certain specific things and rules and reasons you've given me. It's not like that. Value is derived from scarcity. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, I said that.
I love that. I thought you was having an earthquake over there. I was about to be like,
was unstable. I don't know what's with my 360 cameras giving me a hard time. Sorry about that. So I don't think it's a man shouldn't have to. I don't even think a man should have to think. Was a guy's member bigger than mine? Was this guy a hammerer and I'm not? Why should you put yourself in that position? Why achieve value if it has to become a doubt in your head whatsoever? Get the best that you can get.
But this is what I find ironic because value being based on scarcity is it's a man-made concept in the material world. But if we're and I'm on a panel with a bunch of religious men, I would think that
that doesn't make sense. Good sir.
No. What I'm saying. What I'm saying is this.
But it doesn't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. So what I'm saying is that if there's a small amount of something, right? Check this out. Let's say this is the last iPhone on Earth or whatever, or maybe there's two left, right? This would be valuable because it's scarce. Yes.
It's the classic. Yes.
Right. Exactly. Now, what I'm saying is, why I'm saying it's a man-made concept is because what I'm saying is everything that exists is valuable. You understand what I'm saying? But within the material world, meaning us right here in this material world on Earth or whatever, right? What I'm saying is that we are the ones that says this is valuable because it's scarce. What I'm saying is, as men who believe in God, and God is everywhere, and God is everything, then that means everything is valuable. And so what I'm saying is that if everything is valuable and you have access to everything, right? Then what I'm saying is that your argument of the woman being available to everybody, right, is the same as God being available to everybody. So how is God not less valuable because he's available to everybody?
And I'll tell you why. Because a man-made concept. What if I just say my man-made concept is that sand is valuable?
Right. You could, exactly. and we could all start saying sand is valuable, and just like sex. Sex is this big thing. Sex is this big valuable thing. This is what we as men said is valuable. That's what I'm saying.
Have you paid $1,000 for sand? Or
you could. There's people right. No, I haven't. I haven't. What I'm saying is there's people paying women freaking $1,000 for dirty panties. Right.
I get it.
That's what, because they value that.
Do you think they're high value men?
What's a high value man?
I don't know. Would you consider them a high value man, or would you consider them a simp?
No, I don't use terms as like high value man because everything has value. So what I'm saying is that
you think it's a smart decision?
we as men place value on what we think is valuable. And what I'm saying is everything objectively has value, or it wouldn't exist and wouldn't be here. That's what I'm saying.
Do you think that's a smart decision to pay $1,000 for dirty panties?
You say, what do you mean by smart?
Well, intelligent, like a good decision.
I think it's a good decision if that gives the guy pleasure and that's what he wants to spend his money on. Yeah, I think it's a great decision.
Yeah, I don't even know how we can have a debate, to be honest.
No, this is what I'm saying. The reason why it's hard to debate is because, see, when you think inside the box, it's hard to think outside the box. So what I'm saying is that a lot of this is what I think. A lot of the okay, let me ask you this question, because I know you're into polygyny, yes?
I believe that it's included in biblical marriage, yes.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, if the Bible said polygyny was wrong, would you still do it?
No, of course not. I wouldn't sin intentionally.
So basically, so that's one of my points. So what I'm saying is that your actions are based on what the book says, not what you want to do.
Well, I believe that God created all this and put it in motion. So yeah, I care what he says about how I live my life.
Right. And so what I'm saying is you're getting the message from God through the book versus getting the message from God through your heart, through understanding your connection to God.
Yeah, the Bible says the heart's deceitful above all things, so it can fool you. Everyone that's listening to this has been tricked by their own heart.
Right. And so what I'm saying is, how do you know you haven't been tricked by the Bible?
Because I know it's the inerrant word of God. God sent me specific messages aligned with certain numbers that he's given me prior to that.
But who told you that?
God told me. No one told me. I wasn't.
But then that means you got it from your heart. That's what I'm saying.
No, I got clear signs from God, brother. I can tell you.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. What was the sign that you got from God that the Bible was right?
It's too many to even go over in a short podcast. Many.
Well, give me an example.
Okay. So when I first became a believer, I saw these numbers on something. There was an expiration date, and this is coming from someone that didn't know the Bible at all. But somehow in my spirit, I knew that the numbers meant something. So I was flipping through my Bible, and I found 3 specific verses that went along with something that God had spoken to me prior to that. So, and there was no way that I could have known it. I didn't know the Bible at all, but somehow I knew the numbers meant something, and I found 3 verses pertaining to the tree of life. But it doesn't matter. It's just too long of a story to try to explain everything. But I'm not saying that you've had an experience like that. Up until the time I was 27, I had never heard God's voice or felt his presence. So I lived like a complete sinner because I didn't know if it was real. Now I do. But I can't convince you. I can't convince you to believe. But what I would say is that what we started out on this topic with, you said, well, why do women's value lower if they have more sexual partners? And you could say it's a social construct and whatever.
It is.
We're all living in the same world. And if you were to go to a woman and you were to propose to her, say, I want to marry you, and then she said, yes, oh my God, I'm so happy, Locario. And then she found out that you had proposed to every girl that you dated before her, she would not have any respect for you. That's how a man feels when he finds out his woman was fucking everybody that she dated before him, because she was just giving it up to anybody. You were literally giving the thing that you were in control of, the commitment. Will you marry me? Here, I'll get married to you. You look like a complete pussy. Right? That in her eyes, because you proposed to every girl. She doesn't feel special because you proposed to her. Just like a guy doesn't feel special that she said yes to having sex with you if she's fucked everybody that she dated before you. Whether you like it or not, we all live in this world. And when a woman inherently doesn't like another woman, she says whore. When a man doesn't like another man or even a woman, they go, you can't get no pussy. They basically say he's an incel. So it goes back to that. It goes back.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is that everything you're talking about, everything you just said, is based on indoctrination. That's what I'm saying. It's people who don't think for themselves. That's what I'm trying. That's my whole point. What I'm saying. Okay, check this out. Remember back in the day when you would have, for example, like white neighborhoods, and then when black people moved into the white neighborhood, they would say the property value went down. So what did that mean? That means that they looked at the black people as lower value, which caused the property to go down. So what I'm saying is, when you guys are saying that a woman's value goes down through sex with a lot of men, what you're essentially saying is that the men, because remember, the men are connected to this entire situation. You're saying that the men's value is low because they came into the situation and made the property, quote unquote, property value go down. You understand what I'm saying? So you're making the woman's value go down by consistent sex, the same way the black people made the value of the property go down by moving into those neighborhoods. What I'm saying is that all of these are social constructs, because just like race is a social construct. They use that social construct to get into people's brains to make them think a certain way. The same thing with sex and relationships. There are certain things that are talked about that are social constructs, like women, if they have all this sex, they can't pair bond. That's red pill social construct that makes you think that her value goes down. That's all I'm saying.
I got to stop you, man. How's race a social construct? I'm sorry, brother. How you come up with that? Rob, look at Rob. My grandfather actually looks like Rob. My grandfather is 100% white. I could stand outside with Rob and my grandfather, he's dead, in the sun of Qatar. I lived in Qatar 7 years, where it's 51 degrees Celsius. I can stand there all day. I will not sunburn. I know because I've done it. Rob would be fried. That man would be peeling like there's no tomorrow the next day. Race on multiple levels is real. It is not a social construct.
No. You're not understanding what I'm saying. You're not understanding what I'm saying.
Put me on Rob's age and we go I'm 53, even maybe now I'm 53, and it's not I'm not crapping on Rob, but I bet you I could jump higher than him. There's just certain things about the African American physique that are different than the white American physique. And that's not to say that there's not equal value in the individuals. There could be, depending on outcomes, but race is by no means, ethnicity is by no means a social construct. There are clear and definitive differences between us in terms of ethnicity and whatnot.
No, you're not listening. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I agree with everything you said. What I'm saying is that the concept of race, meaning the concept of you being black and him being white, right? Those were labels that were classified and put on particular people before like back in the day. There was no you're white, okay, I'm black. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that.
I understand.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So what I'm saying is
to degenerate or denigrate.
Right. Exactly. So what I'm saying is, that type of rhetoric creates certain actions that happen based on that. And so what I'm saying is the same thing. So I don't want to make it a race thing. I'm just going, and when I'm going back to the women and the sex, what I'm saying is it's the same type of thing. So if you have the thought process that, women. No, but okay. So let me ask you this. Let's say.
Let me explain why it's not the same. If you don't.
Okay,
mind.
go ahead.
A person could walk up and just see and know that I'm black, right? And if he's a racist, he'll say, black guys are terrible. I don't like them. He's made an instant judgment based off of the view of me by my color. There's nothing else he can decipher or determine from me other than that, right? He doesn't know if I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy, whatever else. Let's say generally I'm a good guy. Let's say I'm a saint. I'm not, but let's say I am one. But he's automatically throwing me under the bus because I'm black, because he's put this social, like you said, the social construct that black people are bad. But we know for a fact that woman has whored around with 300 people.
How?
So now what we're looking at is the difference between a person's actions and a person's genetic makeup. And it's not the same. We can't make this comparison because I don't care what anybody says. There has to fundamentally be something broken inside to go around banging that much. Why? You said, person's looking for something, he's feeling empty because he was looking for something. Yeah, there's something wrong there. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You don't know what your purpose in this life is. You don't know why you're here. That's something broken inside of you, and you're trying to fill it with something that it wasn't designed for.
So wait, what was sex designed for?
Procreation and pleasure with the person.
Okay, so then if somebody's using it for pleasure, what's the problem?
There's no problem. The problem is, how are you achieving pleasure? Technically,
at the expense of who? At the expense of who?
Yeah, so I'm saying, what's the issue? What is the problem that happens by using sex for pleasure?
Food is fuel, but there's also a pleasure to it. But if I become a glutton, and I eat myself fat and full until I become something unhealthy.
What about STDs? What about STDs?
You can enjoy food without overeating. You can enjoy sex without becoming a degenerate. You can do it.
No, I agree with you, but this is what I'm saying. If you are eating, right, and a person is full, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do some people get full quicker than others?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So if someone gets full quicker than someone else, couldn't someone's sexual appetite be more than someone else's?
Absolutely.
Right. So therefore, who are we to tell them that their sexual appetite, they're doing too much when they're not full yet? Maybe they're not full. Maybe they want more right now than the other person would want.
So you together with somebody who matches that.
You had asked about, I don't know what your question was, something to Craig about, like, what's the problem if we're using it for pleasure? just off the complete surface, what about sexually transmitted diseases and pregnancy?
Yeah, what about it?
So you don't think that fatherless homes? Have you ever looked at the studies?
No. So what is fatherless homes are not because of sex. Fatherless homes is because someone had unprotected sex and left the person they had the kid with. That has nothing to do with the sex.
That I agree.
Can't blame the sex because of that.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this much question. If you washed your hands with latex gloves, did you really wash your hands?
No.
Okay. So say you're saying so sex with a condom isn't really sex.
No, it's still sex.
Okay. Well,
Because I still no. I still put my hands under the water and the hands still got wet. You see what I'm saying? So I'm still technically washing my hands. It's not getting water on it, but I am literally washing my hands. Do you see what I'm saying? So even though there's latex gloves on my hand, I'm still doing the act. So what I'm saying is when someone's doing the sex act and they're wearing a condom, right, then they can prevent the STDs. If a person is not busting nuts in the person, they can prevent the unwanted pregnancy. So what I'm saying is it's not the act of sex, it's how you're doing the sex.
My daughter was conceived while using protection. I mean, it happens. As I said, when we make plans and God laughs. You know, I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, again, and I believe me, there's a lot of things that you're saying, Mr. Locario, that I actually, you know, agree with. I came from a swinger background. You know, I was in a open relationship, and again, that I don't think for a second that diminished my wives when we turned our lives around. You know, I didn't all of a sudden look at them any differently or were, as a matter of fact, actually, I was kind of pumped up because it was like, well, out of all the life that we were living and all the different people that were coming and going, men and women alike, clearly we had a connection that was far beyond than, again, the physical, because we ended up with each other. You know, God, you know, changed our hearts to sit there and give our hearts, you know, they giving them eyes for me and for me alone. And all the while they later on came in and said, you know, this is actually really all I ever desired. Most of the things that I was doing was simply at the fact that, you know, again, you were having fun. We didn't want to, you know, diminish what you were doing. But at the end of the day, they valued wanting to be wanted by a man, a king, somebody who was going to love, provide. And again, I did not look at them like they were less than, because I was like, who am I to talk? I was out there doing the same thing. Now going forward, again, are those the same circles that I'm running in? No, of course not. You know, but again, I give that credit to God and God alone. That, you know, He gave me a different heart for what it is that I had going on in life, and that's because, again, majority of it was like, hey, I'm not in my 20s anymore. You know, I'm seeking something that's a little more meaningful than just the good time. And don't get me wrong, I think we're all in agreement here. Good times are good times, but they only last so long.
So let me ask you a question though. What if God is telling me to fuck a bunch of women and toss them to the side? What would you say about that?
Well, I'd find that laughable. Because
why?
Because that would be God telling you to fornicate. God doesn't instruct you to sin.
So wait, but this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying, couldn't I say the same thing to you?
No, because I was living in sin, and I can sit there and say that I was incorrect and I had to repent and turn from my ways in that sense. I can't sit there and say, well, God's continually telling me to do that. I was using God's grace as an excuse at that time. Oh, I can do whatever I want, and it doesn't matter. I'm forgiven no matter what. I'm forgiven for the sins that I haven't even done yet. So I can continue to live the life I want to live, lust of the flesh, just do what I do, and it's okay. I'm going to be forgiven. Then I realized, and I studied the scriptures, that that's not how that works.
Right, but this is what I'm saying.
Grace is given,
but this is what I'm saying.
God tells you
what brought you to the scripture? What brought you to the scriptures?
Well, I was always raised in the Protestant church, you know. So I mean, I was not foreign to it. However, I don't think that I was really having a desire at that stage of my life to live by the scriptures. I wanted to live by my own fleshly desires, and I got no problem admitting that. That was just being where I was at in life. So, and then I just kept getting the more and more, you know, people say that they hear from God in different ways. Me, God speaks to me with hurdles. That was always, I'm going to do what I want to do. And God would sit there and say, okay, you do what you're going to do. That doesn't mean that it's going to just be smooth sailing. Why? Because you belong to me. You've given your life to me. You've professed that I'm your Lord and Savior. Therefore, you're going to start running into all kinds of these hurdles. And some hurdles would knock me on my ass, and I was stubborn enough to pick myself up and keep going down the path of sin. Other ones, it was finally like, okay, I need to start listening because he keeps smacking me upside my head. When am I going to finally sit there and say, okay, Lord, I'm hearing you. What is it that you want me to do? And actually start living by what you're calling me to do.
And are you happier doing this?
Absolutely.
Cool. So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, let's say I was doing something similar to what you're doing now.
Oh,
and
I'm
unhappy.
sorry. I misunderstood your question. Am I happier doing this? I'm happier doing this because I know that I'm living by the scriptures, by God's design. Am I in my fleshly person? Would I? No. I still have the same struggles, the same desires. I've expressed this to my wife. If I knew that it was righteous to live the way I was living before, would I go back? 100%, absolutely. Because again,
so if God tells you, hey, go, if you go back to that, that's righteous, you would do it.
absolutely.
Okay, so that's my point.
If the scriptures permit
that's what
I would
I'm
do
saying.
it. But the scriptures don't permit it.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
At the end of the day, I have to go by what God's word says.
Right. So
not what I want.
that's what I'm saying. Those scriptures don't permit it. Yes.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is that what if you had a scripture that did permit it?
Okay.
Again,
so
we're playing a game.
Meaning you believe in the scripture you believe in. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
so what I'm
scripture
saying is,
like
what
that
if somebody
puts
else
a
has a
version
scripture
on,
they believe in that goes against that scripture?
I'd want to know what the heck Bible they were reading.
Yeah,
But this
that
is my
scripture
point. What I'm
sounds
saying
horrible.
is that we all believe what we believe. So what I'm saying is that see in your world, and you're absolutely right. What you believe is the right thing to do, and you're absolutely right. What I'm saying is the same way that you are so strong in that belief, there are other people who are also strong in the opposite belief. That's
Oh yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying.
100%.
Their
Yeah.
belief
Can I
puts
say one
Bonnie
thing?
Blue on par with a virgin.
Yeah, exactly. There are.
What
He's saying there's no.
in
He's
what
saying there's.
universe?
He's saying that there's no absolute truth. But here's what: if you went outside and somebody stole your car, I guarantee you would be like, motherfucker, and I'll kill that. You would know somewhere inside, wired in you, that somebody should not have stole your shit, because no one can do harm to another and claim that. So it's like, well, if it's right for me to kill people, then I should just be able to kill people because it's right for me. I don't care if it's wrong for you. No, there is moral and absolute truth. There is absolute truth in the world, whether we like it or not. I can't just steal your wallet. If I did, you would have the right to complain about nothing. You could never complain about anything. I could come up and punch you in the face and you couldn't say shit because maybe I was just in a bad mood and that was right for me in that moment.
Right, but this is what I'm saying. Would a godly man do that?
What does that got to do with absolute truth?
No. This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
we're not talking about godly.
This is what I'm saying.
About,
what I'm saying is
truth.
No, but that's my point. My point is absolute truth is when you come to having an awareness of who you are. And so what I'm saying is that, see, this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is most of the religions are saying the same thing, whether it's Christian, Buddha, and all that other stuff. It's all going back to the same source. So what I'm saying is this. In the material world, right? Not the spiritual world, not the shit we can't actually see and touch. What I'm saying is the stuff we can see and touch. There's always yin and yang and duality. So what I'm saying is, and this is what I was talking about with Maverick, what Maverick was saying is, I'm saying that what he's talking about is right. But the reason why what he's talking about is right is because on the other side of the spectrum, there's somebody else that thinks the opposite of him. And so what I'm saying is the person who thinks the opposite of him is also right, because Maverick can't have his thought if the other thing does not exist. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. There's a duality to everything, and there's an opposite. There's a yin and a yang. But then we have to also accept that evil and good are real. And so
I agree. Yes.
So what part of these actions are good?
Right. So what I'm saying is, and what I'm
saying, the overall effect on society. Sorry, but
yeah.
When we look at the overall results for our society as a whole and the direction it's going, we have to accept that this behavior, as pleasurable as it is, we've all taken part of it. All of us. I was a degenerate too. These guys in the comments talking about I ain't got no cheeks. Dude, it's laughable. These dudes. I probably got a higher score than these guys combined, but fine. Whatever. The reality is we have to accept that there is good and evil, and that not all actions are good, and there are actions that are evil. So which ones, when we look at this, I'll give the example of Bonnie Blue again. If we look at the girl who's kept it in her pants and she hasn't, give it to anybody, she's I'm gonna let the dude who marries me clap the cheeks. And we got Bonnie Blue. We have two opposites here. Which one can we define as good and which one can we define as bad? We cannot. Not if we are are morally sound and not corrupted, no way can we say that Bonnie Blue is equal in goodness as the one who has taken the time to defer gratification for the person that they want to marry.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so-
just want to say one thing, because I think we are getting somewhere, because Mr. Locario said, at least we can agree that STDs and unwanted pregnancies are bad. I mean, we can agree on that at least, right? Okay, good. Now here's the condoms break.
Yeah, of course they do break.
You know, condoms can't protect you against herpes.
No, I know.
Okay, you can't, because you can't wrap it around your balls.
No, I know.
So STDs are bad. So you're like, well, what's wrong with someone using it for pleasure? Well, they could get an STD. I mean, right? Or and the condom could break and they could accidentally bust a nut somebody. And then if you don't want to marry the person, then you got a baby.
But this is what I'm saying. But this is the same thing you were talking about earlier with the ifs. I can go on a plane and the plane could crash. What I'm saying is
it happens all the time.
Right. And this is what I'm saying. All I'm saying is this is because he was talking about good and evil before, right? See, Captain America is good, but not to Thanos. To Thanos, Captain America is evil. So what I'm saying is that the idea of what's good and what's evil is subjective based on a particular situation and how that person's point of view in life is. So what I'm saying is that we each have a particular point of view in life, which makes us think that something is good or something is evil. So for example, in my perspective, I would think that it's evil to demonize women for wanting to have sex. Whereas somebody might say women who have sex are evil or have a lot of sex. You see what I'm saying?
No one's doing that, which is actually why I started the conversation with the golden rule, right? Doing to others as you would have them doing to you. If you have a daughter, I highly doubt that you're going to want her to just be ran through by any old person.
But see, that's also a flawed saying. If you say do unto others as you want to be do unto you, that would mean that I'm doing something towards you based on what I think. I don't know what I think may not be what you think. So what I'm saying is if you went that route, that would mean that I would expect you, Rob, to call me up and say, Locario, I got like 10 women at the crib right now. Come through. They all got their asses up in the air. That's what I would expect to happen. Because that's what I want, but that's what you wouldn't do that to me because that's what you wouldn't want that.
What I'm saying is let me just I'm in the gym right now. Let me go find all the guys here and let me just go on over to your mom's house. You cool with that? And we're just going to all take turns. Train order. Yeah,
okay? If she wanted that, I'm fine with that. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No, I'm dead serious. Yeah, see, y'all don't know me. I listen. I'm a very sex positive person, so that's what I'm saying. So I can't do it. So Rob, that would mean that if I'm going to do unto people that I would want done unto me, that would mean I would call you, Rob, and invite you to an orgy. You understand what I'm saying?
So basically, let's say Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Okay, he's like, well, why can't I eat people? Because I like eating people. Mm-hmm. This is what I want to do.
But we need Jeffrey Dahmer so that you know that you're not him.
No, we don't need Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes, we do. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, the yin and the yang. So Jeffrey Dahmer is evil, yes?
Maybe crazy, evil.
Right.
I don't know what.
I agree with you that Jeffrey Dahmer is evil because we're on the same page of that being evil. But you know who's not evil to Jeffrey Dahmer? Somebody that thinks like the Joker, somebody that's a psychopath or whatever. So what I'm saying is that based on how you think, you're going to relate to other people who think that way, and then y'all are going to be in the same group and thinking that everyone who thinks not like you is evil. That's what I'm saying.
This has been done before.
And this is why we need a book. This is why we need an absolute standard. This is why.
And who writes the book?
No society has survived this. Societies have historically been here before, and none have survived this. And like I said at the start, I live in a society and I'd like this society. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I would like it to survive. And we have seen, there's a book by, what's his name? 1949, Oxford University Press. What is his name? He wrote a book about sex and society. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe that's the title. I'll have to look it up again. And he showed historically that every time a society goes into sexual freedom and degeneracy, this is not the first time it's happened. Not everybody was like a bunch of Puritans back in the past. They've collapsed and fallen apart. And what you described, and it's not a personal job, but I'm just going to speak directly. It lacks dignity and honor for the individual. I find this, and please don't take it as an attack, but I find this problematic when a man says, I don't care if people come by and clap my mother's cheeks.
I don't. She's a grown woman. She could
Yeah,
be getting her cheeks clapped
my
right
mom's
now.
a grown woman. My mom's a grown woman too. But that she would be like basically public property in the same degree or mentality that there's nothing wrong with Bonnie Blue.
What's wrong with Bonnie Blue?
Go. Everything's wrong with her.
What's wrong with her?
Everything is wrong with her.
What's wrong with her? I'm asking.
Everything.
Like
what individual sleeps with 1,000 people in a single night?
A grown person who wants to sleep with 1,000 people.
That's not even pleasure. That's just doing stuff for the sake of shock factor because they know that it loosens the fabric of society in terms of how they view degeneracy. It serves no other purpose. You can't tell me she enjoyed it.
Well, isn't that her purpose? Well, what if her purpose is to do that to make money?
So her purpose is to cause degeneracy to spread throughout society.
So this is what I'm saying. This goes back to what I was talking about.
We don't see a problem with that.
No, this is what I'm saying. The reason why you think it's a problem, and this goes back to my point earlier, is because people don't think for themselves. So what I'm saying is you're saying that she's going to influence other people to see that and feel some type of way. What I'm saying is if you thought for yourself, you wouldn't care what anybody's doing because you're thinking for yourself and doing the things that's best for you in particular. So what I'm saying is that when people don't think for themselves, they grab on and hold on and look to other things outside of themselves to give them the cosign of what they should do. That's what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that translates also to religion, because religion, all it is it's the thing that tells you how to live without you thinking of how to live for yourself.
What if I just want to live how I want to live? And that means I go rob banks, stab people in the gut, whatever else, because it feels good to me. I mean,
if you want to, you can. You just suffer the consequences.
Where's the border? Where's the boundary of what we do for ourselves?
So you're saying that in order to live great,
I just live how I want to live. I don't care what other people think.
So you're saying in order to not harm people, you need religion. Is that what you're saying? You need a structure to tell you how to live?
We do, yes. As humans, we do, absolutely. Because if we don't,
so you can't think for yourself.
Degeneracy, absolutely.
Well, I'm surprised that you even.
That's why we have laws. That's why we have fines. That's why we have jails. Because people have to be told what to do. Because if you don't, they will often go to the lowest common denominator and factor and commit crimes. And they still do it even with laws. It's proof that we have jails, that people need rules. Absolutely. And if they're divine, all the better.
I was going to say, I'm surprised that you even would agree that STDs and fatherless homes are bad. That's because you might. I was after hearing.
No. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I don't want anyone to catch STD, and I don't want anyone to have a fatherless situation. What I'm saying though is, this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying though, because the reason why is because most people are not equipped to, one, prevent that to happen, and two, can't deal with it. So what I'm saying is that for example, a lot of times when people are talking about STDs is just used a lot of times as a scare tactic to make people afraid of sex. You understand what I'm saying? So I've had sex with damn near 300 something women in my life. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't have any STDs. I don't have any unwanted pregnancies or any of that type of stuff, right? So what I'm saying is it's possible for that to have sex without those extra things. What I'm saying is those extra things usually occur because people purposely or just are ignorant and they make the decision to have sex unprotected, right? Which can cause STDs and also which can cause unwanted pregnancies. So it's not the act that's the issue. It's the people who are doing the act. Just like, for example, that's like me blaming knives and guns. Well, we shouldn't have knives and guns because it's killing people. No, the person who picked up the gun and shot the person made them die. It's not just the gun itself. So what I'm saying is it's the people behind the situations. So a lot of times what we do is that we look at the actual sex, and just like when they say, oh, well, sex is causing the divorces. No, it's because that guy married a woman who didn't like him in the first place. That's why their relationship sucks. She doesn't listen to him. That's why their relationship sucks. He's not a leader. That's why the relationship sucks. She only married him for money and he doesn't have any more money. That's why their relationship sucks. It's not because she had sex with 7 guys in 1994. You know what I'm saying? He's not a leader because she's going to marry another dude, and that dude is going to lead her ass. She's going to listen to everything he says, and they're going to have a great marriage.
But everything you said can be true without like people sleeping with 100 people. Everything you said can be true without all of that.
No, I agree. I'm not saying it can be true. What I'm saying is them doing that or sleeping with those people is not the thing that makes the relationship fucked up. What I'm saying is that we blame the sex because there's an underlying reason we blame the sex. And the underlying reason we blame the sex is because we put sex on a pedestal and we look at it like, well, ill, this girl, she's been with all these dudes and I feel some type of way. I feel some sort of shame, insecurity around sex, which is why I project all that onto the woman. That's all I'm saying.
And to that, I think we could relate to that because, I mean, in that sense, Rob, I mean, you know, we are put in that similar situation where everybody thinks that we're polygynous based off of sex. They put this sex on this pedestal, like, oh, these guys are just living off their lustly desires. Again, not knowing the story behind myself, not knowing the story behind Rob, knowing that we were getting far more sex before we came to this biblical truth. So in that sense, you know, Mr. Locario, I definitely can understand where you're coming from. I think that's where the conflict comes into play, is that at the end of the day, we are speaking to or trying to debate, or I would call it a discussion. We're having a discussion with somebody who is not rooted in the same absolute truth that we have. And that's
Right.
always going to be, you know, the scenario anytime you're trying to debate somebody or have a discussion with somebody who's just not on the same, you know, from the same life lesson plan that we're all on. We're used to debating fellow secular Christians, people who believe in God's word, on is this in fact biblical or not? And we can revert back to quote unquote our absolute truth, which is the text, dissect it, go to the original written languages, what have you. You know, and in this case, you know, we're far more finding ourselves going, okay, is this good? Period. And where we have to revert to is, okay, is this good for society? Is running is a girl going out and sleeping with hundreds and hundreds of men because she wants to, you know, or a man for that matter, good for society? And again, that's why I opened up in my, you know, statement saying, well, you know, look at the studies, but even in that, you could sit there and say, you know, yeah, your statistics are all bullshit and whatever. Okay, but the bottom line is that there are proven studies that show that in the long term, this is going to cause more damage than it's going to cause good for both men and women alike. So
JD
by all
Unwin, Sex and Culture. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, sorry, the book. JD Unwin, Sex and Culture.
Yep. Female promiscuity always leads to a nation's collapse. 100% of the time.
Really? That's what it says in the book? That female promiscuity?
Yeah. And the guy
I'm
was
curious. Tell me why.
It's a very deep anthropological study. You should just read the book. It's very hard to explain.
The guy wasn't even. Yeah. He wasn't even.
You can't do it in 5 minutes on the show.
And he wasn't even happy to admit it, because he was more like on the feminist side. But he had to admit that 100% of the time that a nation fell, it was always preceded by female promiscuity. Maybe because the family breakdown of the family, maybe because a high percentage of the women start getting pregnant, and then those kids are raised in fatherless homes. Because at the end of the day, you could say, okay, fatherless homes are bad, but it's, if we're careful, but there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that you don't get an STD. Yeah, you dodged some bullets, it sounds like. I did too. But it doesn't mean that, you know, Charlie Sheen's got AIDS, right? I mean, he's kind of the punchline. Everybody wanted to be him. You maybe you're too young to remember, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, everybody wanted, you know, every man wanted to be Charlie Sheen. And now he's a fucking joke. I mean, he's got AIDS and his life is empty. So like, that's where this path ends. It's like, yes, it's fun in the moment. I've done it. Maverick's done it. Sounds like Craig has done it. But at the end of the day, it's fruitless. You know,
so isn't it the men's fault though, that society is going down the drain and not?
I agree. Yes.
not the women being promiscuous.
I do believe it's
because aren't we the ones who are leading? So why are we pointing the finger at the women?
No, I think we're all in agreement. I think we're all in agreement there.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how it's the female promiscuity.
It doesn't change the fact that, like, you know, in general, the vast majority of men are not interested in pair bonding with women that have had multiple partners, whether it's the men's fault or not. Most men just don't want that. I said this earlier. It's like guys will complain about there not being low body count women to marry, but then they'll be out sleeping with 200-300 women.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's ridiculous.
It's crazy,
but that's what I'm saying. That's that red pill nonsense where they'll say, well, I want to hook up with all these girls, but I also want women to have low body counts. Now, my thing is this: if guys want women with low body counts, then those same guys shouldn't be having sex. They should be waiting also. You know what I'm saying? If that's like your philosophy, then don't have sex. Don't add to body counts.
I agree. 100%. We actually agree about that.
Right. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's very hypocritical to say you want a woman with low body count and then go out and bang random chicks.
Right, because you're not helping the situation. You're just adding to the problem.
Okay, so we're in agreement there.
That's all I'm
One
saying.
Yeah, it's type of schizophrenia. No, I 100% agree with you. It is the men's fault. Men have always demonstrably, unquestionably been the builders, maintainers of societies. And that's always come with restrictions, some freedoms here, and that we've tried now, and we are trying again, this absolute freedom. And this absolute freedom doesn't work. Unfortunately, people work best under guidance and structure. This is why we see the most successful companies. They're not these ones where everybody's sitting around. You see these women walk around drinking. I just use women as example. It has nothing to do with women in specific, but drinking these lattes and having lunch. Their whole day of work consists of just eating and drinking nice food. The most successful companies, they do very well because they have a lot, considerable degree of structure to them. And I think societies are no different. When we look at somewhere like China right now, in comparison to the rest of the West, they don't have all these problems that we have. Why? Because they as much as I disagree with it, they have social credit scores and all this type of stuff. I don't want all that stuff for myself, but they do that to maintain a high level of discipline and focus, and thus what do we want to call it? Homogeneity and direction as a nation. And you can't have that if everybody's just doing whatever they want, living however they want. We're going to lose one or the other. We can't have it all.
But see, that's the part. That's the part.
And a forward moving one.
Right, but
the Chinese are fucking based, man. They just introduced a law preventing women from divorcing their husbands and taking the house.
Yep.
And the thing is, I half agree with what you're saying, and the reason why I say half is because I totally agree with you about there should be structure, but I believe the structure should be based on the particular man and how he creates the situation for him and whatever woman or women that he's dealing with. Right. And but the issue is that most people are getting their cues of structure just strictly from society. You understand what I'm saying? Now, again, I understand society is going to have structure in a way of, okay, we got to pay these bills. You got to stop at the red light and all that. That makes sense because we're all intermingling with each other. But what I'm saying is that the mentality and the thoughts that people have, right? Most people don't realize they're brainwashed to follow a structure that doesn't necessarily serve them as an individual. You understand what I'm saying? So meaning that people will gravitate to this belief system or, join this group or whatever it is like that because they feel like they need to, or they were pressured into it, or they were conditioned into thinking this is best for them. What I'm saying is that when people start thinking for themselves, they can follow structures that serve them. So if I have a structure as a man, I say, this is the way I create my particular thing. And then I meet women. The women that I meet can either say yay or nay to coming into my structure. If they say no, that means that my structure they feel it wouldn't serve them. If they say yes, it does, right? So now what happens is she's listening to me, but I'm also listening to me because I'm critically thinking about how I want to create the structure. What I'm saying is that a lot of these things that we talk about, especially on the internet, and it's being, pushed around, is that people start to take everybody else's structure that they hear and make it their own instead of making their own structure their own structure. You see what I'm saying? And that's the issue I have with it. So this is where all these thoughts of, when people even talk about statistics, I'm like, why would you even worry about a statistic when you're an individual? I don't care about the statistics. I'm not those guys. I'm me. I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I want.
But I know from the opposite side of the coin, and believe it or not, Muslims say this, but from the other side, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. So I had, I was living a life. I had multiple female partners before I was a Muslim, before I was even thinking about the religion. I was living a life, man. As crazy as this statement might sound to people who don't know, but I'm a black guy in Germany. Do you know how exotic you are here? You are hot. You're wanted here. Okay. This is a place to be as a black man, Germany. To this day, as far right as the West is going, it's a good place to be. So I was at the peak of this when nobody really cared about race or whatever else. When I became Muslim, people said, now I was living how I wanted to. It was fun. It was great, smashing all the beautiful blonde girls and all this type of stuff. I was making good money. But there came a point where I was like, you know what? This is cool. And I didn't think I was missing anything. I was just enjoying it like you yourself were. But when I found Islam, I became a Muslim and I just believed it. I was like, I found a religion. I was like, wow, this is amazing. This makes sense. It fulfills both the scientific and the logical. It fulfills the spiritual. And I became a Muslim. And you know what the Muslims started saying to me when I married multiple women? They said some of the dumbest stuff. They said, because this is the opposite of what you're saying. They said, you became a Muslim so you could marry 4 women. And I was like, dude, before I was Muslim, I had 7 women. I didn't have,
Right.
and in Islam, I have to take care of them. I have to pay 4 women's bills if I marry 4 women. I have to split my time equally with these women. It's not, I have to do a marriage. I have to talk to her parents. I got to pay a dowry. Why would I accept Islam to do all that? It does. So I understand what you're saying, but from the opposite side, it was so much easier when I wasn't Muslim. I could just go out and just, hey, you know what? I won't see you tomorrow. I'm not gonna what pay for your taxi. What are you crazy? You want this meat? Come get it. Uber is, we didn't have Uber back then, but you know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying, but from the opposite perspective, so
Well, isn't the topic of this debate is basically just which way is better? Is that what we're saying? Is that the topic?
yeah, I think so. And personally, when I look at the way the Western society is going in general, I mean, I've always had this opinion. Even when I was doing it, I was kind of like, even though it felt good, it was kind of like, yeah, it's like, you're kind of like, what am I doing at the same time?
Yeah,
but it was just kind of like that moment when you're done and you're like, okay, how do I get out of here? How does she get out of here? This is awkward, this type of stuff, So even then, there was like a slight twinge that, like, maybe something slightly off, where there's a point where you're kind of like, something inside you. You can't tell me you haven't experienced it, Mr. Locario. That little twinge that you have every once in a while, even if it's not every woman, maybe you feel it every 10th woman. That's that part of you inside that's like, yeah, maybe this isn't there. You can't tell me it's not there.
Were you talking about like a feeling of this isn't the right woman to deal with?
Post nut clarity.
Yeah.
No, I don't. So the thing is, I have clarity before the nut. So meaning that I only deal with women on my terms at all times. So a woman doesn't get my dick unless she's been cooperating with me exactly how I want her to do it. And so that's what I'm saying, where like I'm creating the structure to allow women to come in, and they have to basically go down the path I'm leading them. Now, I'm not forcing them to do this, and this is a choice they're making based on them being interested in what I want to do, right? But they're only interested in what I want to do because what I want to do is what they want to do. So, for example, let's take sex out of it. Let's say I like to skydive. I say I'm only going to talk to women, date women who skydive. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to meet a woman, and she's going to skydive with me, but she's skydiving with me because she also likes skydiving, or she wants to try skydiving because she's interested in being around me and entering my world, right? So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that, but what I'm saying is I chose that for me. I didn't have someone tell me to choose that. I didn't go to anything to say I need to check in with this to make sure. I don't need to check a statistic. I don't need to talk to nobody to come up with the conclusions of making decisions on my own to go in the direction I want to go in. That's all I'm saying.
The women that hung around Charles Manson, right? Like they probably liked his company, and he got them into doing some things, And was that a good thing for them because they all landed in prison? I'd say no, it wasn't a good thing.
You saying that was that a good thing for those women to follow him?
Yeah, to follow him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're grown ass women. They made a choice. So
it doesn't. I didn't say that they can't. I'm not eliminating free choice. What I'm saying, we're talking about, is it better? Which way is better? So was it better for those women to follow a man who led them astray?
Well, I think the very definition
because
of wisdom in itself is learning from those that have already been there to done it, and so you can navigate and what is going to work and not work, so that you can avoid hopefully making the same mistakes. I think that what for us, at least on the religious sides of things, whether it be Islam, Christianity, whatever, we have, for us, we have the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's really what that is. It's the instruction path. Now God gave us all free will. We can decide whether we are going to follow it or ignore it. And again, that's the beauty about having free will, is that we can make choices for ourselves. And for many, many years, me and Rob made the choice to not live by these teachings. Later on, we kind of sat there and going, well, shoot, man, these hardships are coming. Hardships come regardless whether you are walking in faith or not. But regardless, we're going, hey, there's something else here that is not being fulfilled in our lives. And it finally is when we decide to walk closer to God and do what God's word actually teaches. But ultimately, it was still a decision, our own personal choice to follow that or not follow it. So, I think that goes back to being able to say, sure, Mr. Locario, I think every single person can think for themselves and should think for themselves. I would never sit here and tell anybody, we and Rob tell people all the time, don't listen to what we have to say. Hear it, but at the end of the day, go see for yourself. Go research it for yourself and go apply it accordingly for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we do believe in free will. We do. We live in a country that promotes freedom of speech, freedom of choice, whatnot. So again, I think that at the end of the day, when we're having the discussion on a social norm, where again we're going back to just, hey, is this going to be good for you? And at the end of the day, we might feel like, hey, you're all going to face judgment, whether you believe it or not. But guess what? I'm not God. I'm not here to judge anybody, so you're going to live your life. I'm going to live mine. And hopefully it's sooner or later, we'll be all reclining at the, head table, up in heaven. But, if you're not there, well, at least I can say, well, I tried. I tried to deliver the message. Some people listened, some people didn't. But again, I will never bring, me personally anyway, I will never bring hatred or any kind of ill will towards any person simply for thinking differently than I do. And again, I think we're all on the same page. We're sitting there going, every single man on this panel here has been has done the things that you're doing currently, and some of us have just decided to eventually say, okay, we need to evolve and move past that, whether it be from because of God's word or because we just wasn't working for us in life or whatever it might be. But I do appreciate again being able to be on here and at least have the discussions for other viewers to be able to make up their own minds after listening to everybody.
Right, but also too what Rob said too. When he's talking about better, the thing is, better is subjective because I'm sure y'all had this where people were like, well, isn't monogamy better? What, why are these women following you guys and having multiple, like, I'm sure y'all heard that at some point where somebody telling y'all monogamy is better. Right. Sure. And I'm not monogamous. So I already know I've heard this type of stuff before, but that's what I'm saying, where whatever is quote unquote better or the best is the individual's choice and perspective. That's basically my whole argument, is that the problem is that whatever we deem as better is always going to be seen in our own eyes as the truth, but the truth is our truth. It's inside us. That's why I have a slogan, say the truth is inside you, because that's the reality that you're living from. Do you see what I'm saying?
The difference is, though, with all due respect, is we've done what you've done and you haven't done what we've done. So you can't say it's better because you haven't done what we've done.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I would never do what y'all do because I would never live my life based on another person's thoughts.
Regardless about the Bible, we've done what you've done. You haven't lived.
So what have y'all done that I haven't done?
You haven't lived in a long-term commitment. That doesn't sound like with any.
Yes, I have. I was married for 10 years in a non-monogamous relationship.
And what happened there?
Yeah, so we were together. Well, we were together 15 years total. The entire situation, we were non-monogamous, and I've been that way since I'm 45. I've been that way since I was like 26. So yeah, so I was in that non-monogamous marriage for the 10 years. So we were together 15 years total. 5 years we were just together, and then for the other 10 years we were married.
Okay, so I would say the thing that we've done that you haven't done is live in a relation, live with a woman who's only committed to us, while simultaneously trying to make,
But what do you mean by only committed to you?
Well, she's not having, my wife is not having sex with anyone but me.
How do you know?
I know. I'm 100% sure of that.
Okay.
So,
all right. I mean, hey,
so you haven't done that, right? So
no, but that's what I'm saying. I haven't done it because I wouldn't want to do it. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is,
you don't know which way's better if you haven't done it, though.
No. I know that's what I'm saying. I've had women who I wasn't even in a like, they weren't even my girlfriends. These are women that I just was fucking, and they would come to me and they would be like, "Oh, I only want to do you." And I like, for example, there was a girl I used to have sex with. I literally had to hook her up with my friend so that she would stop bothering me. I'll be like, listen, I don't have time for you like this. Go talk to my boy. You understand? But she only wanted to fuck with me. So that's what I'm saying, where I don't like the idea of multiple women all up under me. That's what I'm trying to say.
I get it, but you can't. But what I'm saying is, you can't say which way is better if you haven't done it. So you could say, well, look, I don't want to eat vegetables. I only like chocolate.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I've had those situations.
And I'm saying to you, listen, I've eaten a lot of chocolate, and now I'm eating vegetables and meat, and I'm telling you this way's better. You say, no, chocolate's better. You can't actually say it because you haven't done it.
No, but I've done it. I just told you. That's what I'm saying. I've told you. Okay.
You what I'm saying, you haven't done it because you don't want to.
Yes. So if I know I don't want to, that means because I was in a situation where it could have been done. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm not saying it couldn't have been done. A child has the opportunity to eat meat and vegetables, and if they only choose to eat chocolate, and they're like, I don't want to eat meat and vegetables, and you're telling them, no, but you kind of need to. It's better for you long term, and you're like, so you can't actually say it's better.
No, okay. So let me ask you this question. Why? What is the thing about the woman not being with other guys? Like, what's the underlying point?
Well, paternity for one.
Okay, right? so if she wouldn't get pregnant, you would be cool with her fucking with other dudes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure most guys shoot sperm. That's
No, I'm just saying if she wasn't going to get pregnant.
I wouldn't. No, I think it's degeneracy. I think it's evil. Even
okay, and that's my point. So that's exactly my point.
Even before I became a Christian, I knew it was wrong. Somewhere deep.
Can I be different? Can I be directed in a different way? Yeah, that's just. I'm going to tell you why. It's my woman, and I don't share. I pay the insurance on my car. I pay for the gas in it. You don't drive it. It's the same thing with my woman. That's my woman. I don't share my woman. Absolutely not.
Okay, and that's my point.
I pay the rent, or I paid for its construction. Nobody lives in here but me. Nobody uses my woman but me. That's mine.
Okay, and this is and that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in order for you to say that you haven't done it, I would have to be doing it under the same premise you're doing it. Does that make sense? So meaning he said this is my woman, and you said that you think it's degenerate and all this other stuff. I don't have the same mentality, so therefore I'm not even in the same room with you with the thought of why you're doing what you're doing.
I don't care why you do it. You haven't done it, so you can't say it's better because you haven't done it. You don't.
No, but this is what I'm saying. That's why I asked you what's your underlying reason, because what I'm saying is
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you cannot like eating vegetables, and if you eat them anyway, you're still good. So you don't have it. You can't even compare one against the other because you haven't done it.
So
you can't say.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Have you had sex with a man?
No.
So is having sex with a woman better than having sex with a man?
I can't say.
But how can you say if you haven't done it?
I won't. I'm not saying.
That's my point.
I'm not saying.
That's my point.
He said he can't say it. He's never done it.
No, but that's my point. My point. This is what I'm saying. You've already told me that having sex with the woman is better than having sex with the man.
I never did.
I'm gonna take exception with your chat here. Your chat's a bunch of idiots. Hey, chat, I'm gonna come to your house and just take your car. Okay? I mean, you're insecure. And you're controlling if you won't let me just come up and use your car, my niggas, and I'm not paying for the gas, okay? All right, so I'm just gonna show up I'm gonna be an Israeli, and I'm just gonna stay in your house. I'm gonna take over the bedroom, you know what I mean? I'm gonna make you sleep in the basement, my niggas. And if you say anything against it, you're insecure and controlling. How dare you be so insecure and controlling about your car? This is public car, thank you very much. I don't care if you bought it. I don't care if you paid for the insurance. I don't care how you like to maintain it. Maybe I want to put my feet up on the dash. Maybe I want to spit over on the seat or whatever else.
No, I think they brought me saying that, you're looking at the woman like property. I think that's what they're saying.
She's my property and I'm hers. We both have rights upon one another.
Check this out. Check this out. I'm not even mad at you saying that, but that's my entire point. What I'm saying, what I'm saying is that that's my entire point. What I'm saying is that your perspective of how you see it is going to be different than how I see it. So because we already have a different perspective, that also creates the reasoning behind why we would do something. So this is why I asked Rob about if he's been with a dude who's bisexual, who has never been with a guy, right? He might just say, oh, well, I just haven't had the chance to do it, but I would. And then you could say, well, listen, you haven't done it, so therefore, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm saying is the fact that Rob is straight, he doesn't have the desire to
Yeah,
do
but
it.
I
So
I picked a
therefore,
different- I
you can't
picked
say,
my
well, you
line
haven't
hard
done what I
because
did,
I
because the
agree
reason
that
why he hasn't
your
done what he
logic
did
here is
because Rob
sound.
don't want to do it.
Hey,
But I wouldn't debate
Mr.
though.
Locario, if you want to debate a bisexual guy, we can just invite John Amphy Lifestyle.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I wouldn't debate. I wouldn't debate that having sex with a woman is having sex better than having sex with a man because I haven't done it. Which is the point that I'm making to you is you're trying to debate which way's better, and I'm saying we've done what you've done. You han't done what we've done.
No,
So
but
how can you-
this is what I'm saying. I would never do what you're doing. That's my point.
That's fine, but you can't say it's better because you haven't done it.
No, but this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in order for us to be on the same page, for you to say I haven't done what you've done, we would also have to be on the same page of the
No.
reasoning why you're
No.
doing it.
It doesn't matter why. Look, if a
Yes, it
child,
does.
if a
So
child,
so if that's the case, you should just.
I might love vegetables. I might really love salads, and they taste great to me, and I just enjoy salads. And my child doesn't like salads, but he just eats the salads because I told him to. It doesn't matter why he did it. At the end of the day, eating salads is going to make you feel better than eating chocolate. And if the kid's never ate a salad and he says, no, chocolate is better. No, because you haven't done it, so you don't know.
But in order for me to say something is better or worse, I would have to have an interest in the thing. Yes.
No.
Yes,
Just
you
like
do.
Just
Okay,
that you've done it.
so
Just that you've done
so
it.
you
It
would
doesn't matter
would
why.
eat you would eat shit to see if I say it's shit better than vegetables. You're gonna eat the shit to try it.
It doesn't matter why I go to the gym as long as I go. I don't want to work out all the time. I just go because I know it's better for me. Some people love working out. It doesn't matter. We still feel the same way at the end of the day.
So Rob, this is what I'm saying. I would agree with you if I said, you know what, I think it's degenerate for women to be fucking around with a bunch of dudes. And you said, well, listen, you haven't done what I've done because I've been with women and they've only had sex with me and fucked with me, and we're on the same page about it being degenerate. Then I would agree with you. I'm like, yes, I haven't done what you've done, because what happens is that when I get off this call, I should be saying, oh, let me try what Rob said to see, then I can go see if it's better or not. What I'm saying is if I have no interest in seeing if it's better or not because I'm already not with it, then what I'm saying is that you're saying, well, you haven't done what we've done to see if it's better. What I'm saying is, in my own reality, it will never be better because I don't even see that as a viable thing to do. So already I don't see it's better. That's what I'm trying to say.
Have you ever done something that worked out a little differently than you thought?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible that if you were to try this, that it could somehow be a little different than you thought it would be?
Right, but I would have to have an interest in it. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Things that I've tried,
No,
I've had an interest. No, that's what I'm saying.
Have an interest.
What I'm saying is, if I haven't tried something and somebody presenting something to me, hey, you should try this. The reason why I even take action is because I have some form of interest to try that thing they presented. If I have no interest in it, I'm not going to do it.
I can understand where you're coming from. I did not have an interest in polygyny / biblical marriage at all. I mean, and then again, I think you and I, Mr. Locario, are very much on the same page, because again, I didn't have a problem sharing my women. I didn't have a problem, and I'm the oddball here when it comes to, my fellow men who practice biblical polygyny, because again, I'm still in that mindset where I'm going, I personally, myself in the flesh, don't have a problem with it. I don't see the issue, whatever. However, I do know what the convictions that God puts on my heart. But that didn't happen. If you asked me 4 or 5 years ago, if I had an interest in it, I would have said, heck no, I'm never going to be, committed to 1, 2, 3 women. I'm going to continue to live my life the way I want to live my life, doing what I want to do, because that's what interests me. And again, I profess to be a believer, so I'm going to be forgiven anyway. That was what my mindset was. So I didn't think, nor had any desire, like you, to even try any of this. However, sooner or later, I just kept getting smacked in the face, with God's truth. And eventually it got me to a point where I'm like, okay, I better start listening. I better start, actually trying to apply, what he's telling me. And again, it goes back to personal choice. But again, I do hear where you're coming from, and I agree with a good majority of what you're saying, because again, I did live that life, and still in my fleshly desires, in my mind, can relate to that. It's ultimately at the end of the day going, what am I going to do more? Live by my own desires, or do what the Most High is calling me to do? And fortunately enough, I will say, I reached a point in my life where I would rather listen, to my God, my Messiah, than my own selfish desires. That's simple as that.
Right, I feel you on that, and the thing is, all I'm trying to explain is that there are certain things, like, because what you said you got into this because you was like, I didn't think about doing this, and it was presented, and then I got into it, right? That means that there was a sliver, a little piece of something that was like, you know what, that interests me, which is why you took the step. What I'm saying is there are things that people do that you are just not interested in. That's like me talking to a murderer, and they say, well, Locario, how do you know murdering people isn't better than keeping them alive? Like, you've never murdered. I'm like, yeah, I would never do that. Like, there's no way I'm going to be interested in murdering anyone. So yes, I've that's not gonna happen. So I can't say, oh, well, you're like, well, you can't say that it's better or worse. I already know for me it's not going to be better. That's all I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that's why I asked y'all what's the reasoning behind it. So what I'm saying is if the reasoning behind what y'all said aligned with what I said, then I would agree with Rob. I'd be like, yeah, well, you're absolutely right. I haven't done what you've done. What I'm saying is I never want to do what you've done. That's what I'm trying to say.
But the problem is your position allows for the murderer to also think that his behavior is correct. That's the problem.
Who's to say that his stuff isn't correct? Who's to say that?
Well, maybe the victim or their family. I don't know.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand.
How can we have a conversation though?
Yeah, that's impossible.
That's my entire point. My entire point is that everything is subjective in its perspective.
What you're saying is,
that's my entire point.
Do you, regardless of who it hurts, is what you're saying? Because if a murderer, no, a murderer. That's a great point, because you're like, who's to say a murder's wrong? I'm like, well, if let's say they kill a man and he's a single dad and he's got sole custody. The mother died of cancer, and the baby is at home waiting to be fed, and you murdered him. Well, maybe it was right for the murderer. Like. That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that people are going to murder because there's people who don't murder. It's yin and yang. Right. You're always going to have the opposite.
I get it, but it doesn't mean that murder's right.
No, I'm not saying that I agree with the murder. I'm saying that if a person is murdering, they are murdering because they are the murderer. God created that person to do that.
Okay,
you understand what I'm saying?
A guy has sex with a young girl first, and he busts a nut in her, and she gets AIDS and she dies. Is it wrong? Was that wrong for him to do that, or was that?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. In my opinion, that's wrong. What I'm saying is, in his opinion, he's right. That's why he did it. And what I'm saying is that he was created to do that. That's what I'm saying.
But it doesn't matter what his opinion is. I agree with you here. It doesn't matter what his opinion is. It matters who was actually right. You're saying
that's what I'm saying. You keep saying who's right. Everyone's right and everyone's wrong. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No. But see, I agree with you. The man was created to be a murderer. But then the creator also made the rule, at least in Islam, that the murderer should be executed.
Yeah.
Hey, let it happen. I'm not agreeing. I'm not disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is that what's supposed to happen is going to happen.
The point of the conversation.
But there are rules, and there needs to be.
The topic of the conversation was which way's better. So at the end of the day, if you think that it's better to potentially get STDs and potentially have fatherless homes, because again, mistakes happen, there's no guarantees, and then yeah, maybe Locario's way is
no better is subjective. I didn't say that it's better to get STDs and fatherless homes. I said, in my opinion, having sex because you like the pleasure of it is better than not having sex because a book told you not to do it. That's what I'm saying.
No one's talking about not having sex.
No, but this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you guys are saying women shouldn't have this amount of sex, and if they do, this happens and that happens and that happens, and then you're using the stats to back it up, and you're attaching those things. So what I'm saying is that within those conversations, you're saying one thing is better than the other. So you're saying it's better for women to not have sex, yes, or not have a bunch of sex.
No, we were trying to establish. You said, well, why is their sexual marketplace value drop with the higher body count? And I said, well, it's well documented that the more sexual partners they have, the higher the divorce rate. So for me personally, I don't want to marry a woman that I feel like is going to step out on me down the road. Now, look, everything in life.
Wait, hold on, real quick.
Everything in life is a game of odds. You can say, well, there's no guarantee.
Hold on. How does a woman having sex with a guy she met before you equate to her stepping out on you on a relationship?
I just told you that the women with the highest partners have the highest divorce rate. I'm not talking about me necessarily personally because I have really
No,
good
but I'm just
brain.
saying that talking point because I've heard that talking point in the red pill. How is a woman?
But this is like that. This what you're saying is look, okay, you're saying look, a car with 500,000 miles can break down too, right? What's the difference if you get a new car or if you get a car with 500,000 miles? Because the car with a brand new cars break down too. Life is a game of odds. Yes, a new car could be a lemon. There's a possibility, but I'm going to take a new car over a car with 500,000 miles because I know that a car with 500,000 miles break down a lot more frequently.
But see, the problem with those analogies when you talk about the car to talk about the women is that you drive a car, right?
Yeah.
So the car is not autonomous. The car can't choose you back. The car. So what I'm saying is that when a woman has sex with you, she's choosing to have sex with you. When a woman is being cooperative and pleasant, she's choosing those things. And the opposite is true. When a woman is being disrespectful, belligerent, she's choosing to do those things. And so what I'm saying is, how is a woman being promiscuous or having sex and all this other stuff before she met you equate to a guy being cheated on in the relationship when that woman is with him? That's what I'm saying.
So this is what we know. We know that. Let me just tell you this one thing. We know that, and then we can pull up the study, and you can look at it and believe it's factual or not. But women with 10 or more sex partners have the highest divorce rates. Now, the divorce rate is 50%. 80% of those divorces are followed by women. So that means, 4 out of 5 of our already sky high divorce rates followed by women. And if you're telling me,
and that's based just on sex.
If you're telling me that the women with the highest amount of sex partners are the ones predominantly in that 4 out of 5, then yes, it does lower their value because you were one of the 10 motherfuckers that slept with her.
So wait, so her divorcing and that not working out is based on sex. Like there was nothing else in the situation that caused that.
Are you saying there's no correlation? Because that's what the study was: 10 or more sex partners, highest divorce rates.
Right. So what I'm saying is that the also basically in the study, everything else was perfect. Everything else was great. They had a good relationship. The guy was a leader, all of that. But the only thing was that these women had sex with all these partners in the past. That was the reason why they broke up.
I'm sure it was skewed all over the place. I'm sure the people that were slept with one partner versus the people that slept with 10 or more, it was all over.
Our argument has come full circle because I repeat, since we've come back to this, and I'll repeat my initial point, how can we assign value to something that's readily available to all?
100%.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
I mean,
scarcity.
If a woman is available to any man that comes along because she desires it, whether she desires it or whatever else, for whatever reason she does it, socialization, pleasure, just whatever, how is she high value or has equal value to something that is scarce? Something that is readily available doesn't have,
So which women are not readily available?
Sleeping with 100 people is highly available.
No. What I'm saying is which woman is not readily available to all men?
Oh, no. There's a lot of women that's not readily available to all men.
Like who? Like where they at? They on Jupiter? Like where?
What do you mean?
What I'm saying is
who are not going to be available to you or me simply because they're not interested in us.
Okay, but they're going to be interested in other guys, right? Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they sleep with other guys. All
right,
guys
but they can and they would when they find the guys they're sexually attracted to. So what I'm saying, okay, like for example, even the woman you're in relationships with, right? What I'm saying is that every woman, including mine, including your women, are available to other men. Because you can't do anything to stop her from being available to other guys.
Attraction is not availability. I'm attracted to a lot of women. I'm quite sure I could sleep with them, but that doesn't mean I'm available to them. I assign value to myself also. What do you do that deserves that I allow you to enter into my life as a man?
Right. Well, let me ask you this question.
Not all women are available to me.
That's a great.
So let me ask you this question. So now, hold on. With that being said, do men usually approach and pursue women, or is it the other way around?
No, men usually approach.
Right. So if men are usually, so it's more likely that
we're talking about
we're not available to the other women, whereas the women are going to be available to the men because the men are. So what I'm saying is that if any of our women are out about in the real world, any number of men can approach them and interact with them, which means any number of those men they could be attracted to, which means any of those men could interact with them to make shit happen.
Sexual availability. This is not the same.
No, but what I'm saying is if she's sexually attracted to him, then he has a chance to have sex with her. Yes.
Let me say one thing, because this is Mr. Locario. You talked about women. You like I choose who gets my dick. and they have to come into basically my frame and act the way that I want. Because why? Because you have a high opinion of yourself. You know your worth, right? So I think we're saying the same thing. So a woman should know her worth. Okay. She shouldn't just let any old schmo hit it. Okay. But a woman with a high body count obviously has lower standards because she is letting, and it sounds like if she found 200 guys and that only a small percentage of the guys are like yourself, you know, the men that you claim to be, well, how the hell did you meet all these guys that were these exceptional men? Because statistically, it's impossible. Which is why, going back to what Craig said, is what scarcity is what produces value. You know, $4,000 an ounce for gold. You're not going to pay $4,000 for an empty beer can because you could find a beer can in a trash can right outside of any convenience store.
So
I'm appalled.
And you would be a fool, and you would be a fool to do so.
So wait, so let me hold on. So let me ask this. So what's a high body count to y'all? Give me an example of a high body count. Like what's the number?
I guess it depends on their age, really. I mean,
it's like a 30-year-old woman. What's the high body count?
I don't know, but I'm reading the comments here, and the amount of men who are just so comfortable with being a cuckold. My woman can go out; she could step out. You just
wait. What's a cuckold?
That you accept that your woman sleeps with other men.
No. That's not what a cuckold is.
Well, I think you raised another man's child, isn't it?
Right. A cuckold is the original definition of
start?
cuckold. The original definition of cuckold is a man who his wife is basically cheating on him. She gets pregnant and he's taking care of the kid. That's the original definition of cuckold. The updated version of cuckold.
It's impossible for it to lead to anything else.
Right, but the updated version of cuckold is a guy where it's kind of like a fetish thing where he gets turned on by watching his women have sex with other men and also being submissive in the act. That's what an actual cuckold is. Because if a cuckold is just a guy getting sex or his woman getting sex, then I could, basically hook up with any guy's girlfriend and now he's a cuckold. That's not how it works.
No, you know what? And because there's a modernization and a progression of terms, they sort of go through this morphology. I actually hold that a cuckold is somebody who knows that he's sleeping with a woman who's in a relationship or committed relationship. That means that the guy, he's actually a victim. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. If he knows, he's a cuckold. But if he doesn't know, then he's a victim. But the guy who's sleeping with a woman who absolutely knows she has a partner, without question, he's a cuckold. He's screwing occupied pussy. That you're willingly doing something that you know makes you a cuckold.
Occupied pussy. I'm gonna use that. That's hilarious.
It's like occupied
pussy. Yeah, I made that one up. But
no, I'm about to ladies be like, "Hey, miss, is your pussy occupied right now?" I like that. That's just funny as hell.
I find that odd. I find it really odd. I mean, I guess this is just a moral and ethical thing that we're not going to be able to bridge, including with the chat. That it's just like, I personally find that since even before I was Muslim, I found a problem with it, that, I do, whether these guys call it insecurity or whatever else, I do. I have this particular pride where I what's mine is what's mine, and I've claimed it. Whether it's territory, people, whatever else, maybe I was born to be a conqueror and these guys were born to be just, get whatever you can get whenever you can get it. I don't know.
So wait, what makes a woman yours though? I'm curious about that because
everything that you described and exclusivity.
Okay.
When I teach, I actually teach Muslim guys. And I'm like, what a woman has to have is pro-cooperative attributes. Pro-cooperative means she's on your program. She's following you. She can't come into your life, make your life hell, be somebody else's girl. She's going to start acting like the woman that she was with her ex, act like the woman she was with the last boyfriend or hookup, whatever else. That's not your woman. She's doing the things that you want and need her to do. I call that on my channel pro-cooperative attributes. She has to be your woman. She's being what you want her to be and sometimes what you need her to be, because sometimes you need her to just follow your program, even though she doesn't understand it, because you know what you're doing. Maybe she doesn't.
Right. And this is the thing. The fact that she's doing that is because she finds benefit in doing those things, right? Because it benefits her to be
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Right. No, so she's doing that because it benefits her to do that, to be your woman, to be in your world and to be into your situation, right? So what I'm saying is, and this is what I try to tell a lot of guys is, a woman doesn't do anything technically for you. She does it for herself. So meaning you are benefiting off her following your lead because following your lead benefits her.
Well, I think that can be said. The truth can be said to any man who follows a higher power. Period. Because I mean, the Bible says you can't serve two masters.
Right.
So
So right.
and so for men, we can't serve two gods. You know, we're in submission to Him the same way that women are to be in submission to their husbands, and they can't have multiple men because they can't serve two masters. They
So
they
right. So
belong
that's
to
what I'm
me.
saying. So that's my point. So what I'm saying is that because she's doing it to benefit her, that means another man can come into your situation and she sees the other man benefiting her, which is why she's gonna have sex with other guy. That's all I'm saying. So what I'm saying is
principally, I don't have a problem with her doing what I want her to do because it benefits her. But again, this comes back to conditions also, exclusivity. And that's one of my conditions of her being mine. That's
Right.
part of what I need her to be. Now, if she wants to, and I don't have a problem if my woman wants to go and have sex with another guy, she just can't be my woman.
Absolutely.
No, and I feel you on that. And but this is the distinction.
We part ways, and you go and do what you want to do, but you are no longer my woman. You
Right,
don't
and I agree with you 100%. But this is the distinction. Well, most guys, when you say those things, most guys think she's doing that because you told her, or you're making her. No, she's doing it because it benefits her. So what I'm saying is that because the woman only does what benefits her, if another man was to come into the situation, she would fuck with him if she wanted to, if she feels it will benefit her. That's what I'm saying. Whenever a woman is only having sex with you, it's not because of you, it's because it benefits her. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't disagree. And I don't think we're going to convince Mr. Locario. This is the one thing I'd like to say.
I don't either.
Is that look, on the one side, this is where Maverick and I stand. Is on the one side you have, this feminized church, and they're like, men are wrong for even wanting variety. You should not want variety. You should be ashamed of yourself for anything but one woman. And then the guys on the red pill side, which I'm not saying you are, Mr. Locario, but they say,
no, I'm definitely not red pill.
They're like, look, spin plates, bang as many chicks as you can, have your fun, whatever. There's no, and some of them will even claim, that the woman would be exclusive. Where Maverick and I are, is we're in the middle, and we're saying, listen, it's okay for men to want variety, but it has to be done righteously, which means you have to marry the women, protect and provide for them for life. What I'm saying, if men were to do that, it would clean up a lot of the messes that we see in the world, the mistakes that happen with fathers' homes or STDs, and just I think it goes along with human nature because men have a desire for variety, and women, to be honest, most women don't want a man to share them. They want to know that pussy's mine, you're mine, and they like that. They want to be claimed. That's just the way that they're wired. And I believe it's a picture. It's a picture of God and man. God, Jesus is the bride or the husband, and we're the bride of Christ. It says He can love as many of us as He wants, but we can have no other gods before Him. Now, look, we can go all day long and say what's better, this way is better, that way is better. But at the end of the day, I believe that God set all this in motion. I believe that biblical polygyny, biblical marriage that includes polygyny, is the missing piece to the puzzle. Because yes, men get to express their desire for variety, but women get what they want too because they get a covering. They get a husband, protect and provide for them and children and all that. And to me, that's the better way because I know that I'm doing my part to make the world a little bit better of a place. So with that, I'll conclude. It was great to meet you guys.
I feel you now. This is cool. This is fun.
So Rob is just refraining from occupation.
I'm going to occupy. I'm occupying.
I got a question for you guys. Do you think for all of you, I think AbuAmerican knows what it's going to be. Do you think Jesus had a game?
Absolutely.
I think he was the most attractive man who ever lived. When I say attractive, I don't necessarily mean physical. I mean, women were attracted to him because, number one, he was a celebrity, so he had tons of followers, but he looked at them in a way probably that no man had ever looked at them because he wasn't just looking at them like a piece of meat, right? And they felt that. So I know for me, when I was a player, I had a lot of girls, and a lot of girls wanted me. But when I actually became like a Christ follower and I was actually trying to save sex for marriage, it was like, man, so many women, they all wanted to marry me because they were like, oh, like a guy that's not trying to screw me. Like it was a completely different level now. So I think, Jesus was that to the nth degree. I think he, I'm sure he had women scratching at his tent, trying to come in, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure about that. Yeah, he was the most attractive man who's ever lived.
I'll definitely say that I don't think anyone had more social acumen than him at the time. That's what I'll say for sure.
Well, I say this. I think Jesus definitely had game, but I also think people missed a lot of the game Jesus was dropping, to be honest, because Jesus was like, "I'm the light, I'm the way," and I think people looked at it as him saying, "Look at me," whereas he was saying, "I'm just like y'all," meaning we're all connected in this light. We're all the same. We all God. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that when most people, miss that that lesson, they believe in the separateness of each other, of us, which is what I was talking about with the material world, of thinking that this is why people will hate someone who is different than them, because they don't realize that in order for them to exist and have their identity, there has to be the other person on the other side who exists. That's the opposite. This is why they say love your enemy, because you need your enemy. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can't understand yourself unless you understand the enemy. Like, it's just like somebody saying, well, if I say what is cold, they know what cold is based on knowing what hot is. It's the duality. You see what I'm saying? So I think that Jesus had a lot of game that he was dropping. But I think some people, a lot of people, I think, miss it, and they're looking like at Jesus as, let me worship him, instead of looking at Jesus as, oh, Jesus taught me the lesson to show that we're connected. That's how I look at it.
So who's the guy who was in the desert for 40 days, 40 nights? Who was that guy?
That was
Talking about,
Yeshua.
I think, oh, yeah,
What's the name?
I think he's
Yeshua.
talking about Jesus. Yeah, Jesus.
It was Jesus. He was day gaming and night gaming for 40 days and 40 nights.
He said Jesus is the first pickup artist.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, Jesus,
Anyway.
Jesus gave us the parable of the 10 virgins, I mean, where he's got, he describes that's exactly what the relationship is he's the one bridegroom, and he's got 10 virgins coming to him, and he marries 5 of them and sends the other 5 away for being foolish and not being ready for him, so I mean, if that's not game, I don't know what is.
That's why they nailed him to the cross. They was playing. They was like, Jesus is
He was the game lord. Anyway, Eddie, I'm just going crazy here. What else? Are we missing anything? Any final comments?
No, I think we're good, man. Now, I just want to say, man, I appreciate this, man. This was cool, man. This is like a cool, discussion. I wouldn't even call it a debate. I feel like it's a discussion, because I learn. This is the thing. I learn a lot every time I do these things. You know what I'm saying? Because it always reminds me that people have different thoughts and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it gives me something to think about that I might not have known or looked at or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And just give me a different perspective. So
you're already a winner, Mr. Locario. If you come in with any debate or a discussion with that attitude, I tell my guys in the coaching group all the time: clarity over agreement, all the time. Because if you come in with a mindset of hey, I'm trying to understand somebody, versus just trying to push my point without having a mind to learn myself, then already you've already kind of limited your own capabilities of what you can accomplish and gain from having the interaction with somebody else. So no, I appreciate all the men on here, for us being able to come in here and again have this discussion, and that's how we learn, that's how we grow, it's how we evolve. And so no, absolutely, God bless you all.
I've never met a person with your positions. Never. So it was interesting, to say the least.
Interesting occupations.
Don't anybody think I'm mad or anything? I think Mr. Locario knows more than anybody else. Maybe you guys do.
Listen, I'm stealing your line, that occupied pussy. Oh, that's gonna be my next line. I'm telling you. I'm gonna give you credit though. I'm gonna be like, yo.
You from Poland?
But I speak emphatically, obviously, the classic loud black guy. I'm not angry or anything. I don't have anything against you, Locario. I just think, I disagree with your ideas vehemently, but
oh no, I love it. That's
cool dude,
that's always
man.
the best.
Like, all right guy, man. So yeah.
God damn. Well, this is being interesting. This has been
and real quick, my bad. And also, guys, go to shoplocario.com. Because I have a program called How to Have a Successful Non-Monogamous Relationship. So I talk about you know, different types of non-monogamy and stuff like that. So if any of you people who's watching are interested, go to shoplocario.com. And also I might be having I'm gonna have a Black Friday sale next week, Black Friday through Cyber Monday sale next week, starting on Thanksgiving up until December 1st. So just want to let you
Well,
guys know
if
that.
we're dropping it like that, AbuAmerican.com, you can get my vetting guide where you learn not to marry a girl like Bonnie Blue.
Well, yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll mention it too. Maverick and I have a program called Man of Options, and it basically helps men who want to get married to their first wife with the option of polygyny, or if they're already married, find their second, or if they have two, maybe find their third, but also just how to navigate life in a world that's really not built for men who have this belief, because we live in a monogamy only world. So we cover lots of topics, mostly around leveling up and being the kind of man that a woman would gladly share, but also about, like, you know, how to write your vows and how to set up your household in order to have more than one wife. So yeah, manofoptions.com. You can start a 7-day free trial. We do a call every Thursday night. This week it'll be Tuesday. So if anybody wants to jump in, join us.
Ooh, cool.
You can also find me at Red Pill Christian 144.1 on Instagram. And as Rob already said, you know, Men of Options. It's a great program. So come out and check it out. And yeah, look forward to connecting with anybody and everybody that is interested in leveling up. Absolutely.
All right, thanks guys for jumping in. This has been one of the best fucking live streams ever. Complete insanity.
Well,
Well, not
that's why I'm gonna
insanity,
chop
but
this
you
up
know,
in 10 different parts.
more like 15. Holy shit. All right, thanks for jumping in, guys.
right, y'all.
Let me know in the comments if you want to see some similar stuff. Relationships are a big part of game. I'll just end with that. My view on this is pretty simplified. Stage 1 of game is dating, meeting women. Stage 2 of game is relationships, keeping women. Notice I made that plural because if you're in multiple relationships, you still have to learn how to manage a relationship, at least one. And then stage 3 of game, family, how to run, not how to run, but raising family, whether that's multiple families or whatever, that's still one family. Or, you know, you don't have to have a family, but you can also see it as legacy. When Julius Caesar was dictator of Rome, after he died, there was a power struggle. There could have been a great legacy, but you know, they had to kill off his biological son, his great nephew, what was his name? Augustus. Um, he had another name too. Killed off his biological son. You know, the legacy wasn't well managed because in a lot of empires and politics, they just ended up killing each other for power. So legacy, family, that's stage 3 of game. These are the things that I believe. Alrighty, we got that there. Any final stuff from you
Yeah,
guys?
I'd like to mention one thing, Ice, because you said something about dating and keeping women, and this is something that we didn't talk about. So, like, the beauty with polygyny is women are, I believe, hypergamous. I don't know what Mr. Locario believes about that, but I think women generally want the best. They want to know that they have their best option. Okay, men, we're not hypergamous. We generally will, like, we don't want to necessarily want a woman that makes more money than us, or you know, where she's the focus. We'll marry the barista, no problem. I mean, a hot barista. I could be a millionaire and I'll still marry the barista. I don't really give a shit how much she makes. That's most men. Not maybe not all, but I believe women are generally hypergamous, so they want their best option. When you tell a woman that you're going to be exclusive to me, and I may or may not be exclusive to you, you automatically satisfy her hypergamous nature, because it tells her we're not equals. Now, so again, you go to a non-monogamous relationship where she can fuck around and you can fuck around. Now we're kind of like equals, you know, like, okay, well, you can go date other guys too. In her mind, you're not her best option. She's not thinking he's the absolute best I can do, because the absolute best I can do probably wouldn't allow me to do this. That's the beauty of polygyny. Now, I wish we would have actually.
But that's actually not true though, because remember, if you have to tell her, then that's the problem. She's like, if you have to tell her, hey, I'm gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. Like she should already
relationship early.
No, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that she should have the option, and then she chooses not to, if that's the case. That's what I'm saying. Because Because what
Gotcha.
happens is the guy who is telling her, hey, I'm going to see other women, but you can't see other men. If you're telling the girl she can't see other men, you're not the top guy, because the top guy wouldn't care. So what I'm saying is that if she has to make a decision, be like, you know what, I really actually don't even want to see other guys. I just want to be with you. And that's her making this decision based on her own merit versus her either making the decision because she wants to appease you at the time, or her wanting to make that decision already, but now she sees a chink in your armor because you care about her fucking with other dudes. That's what I'm saying.
No, we're saying the same thing, because she's
Right.
choosing to enter into the relationship. So you set the terms just like you would with anything else and say, listen, this is how it's going to be down the road. I may or may not take multiple wives, but any woman I date, it's going to be exclusive to me. Then she decides if she wants to proceed with you. I'm not. So what's the difference in what you just said and what I said?
No, because what you said was if the woman is seeing other men, you guys are like equal.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, well, if you're telling her, listen, it's okay if you date other guys. If you said, let's say it's early, early in the relationship, I believe you should set the terms. You should tell them what's up. I don't think you should ever lie to a woman about, if for guys like us, if you believe in polygyny, you should tell them up fairly early in the relationship. So you tell them, any woman that I date and marry is going to be exclusive to me, and I may or may not be exclusive to you. You automatically are letting them know that you are above them on some level. We're not equals. Now, you could say this to a woman that you're dating, and
right, but that's what I'm saying. If you are above them or the higher status guy or whatever you want to call it, what I'm saying is that she should be, so basically it's like this. If you say, hey, the reason why people, for example, tell you to come in at a certain time or do a certain thing is because they want to make sure you're doing it, right? And so what'll happen is, like, for example, if you have a job, right? You have people who love their job. So they'll come in early, they'll work overtime, they'll do a bunch of stuff because they love being there. This is their dream job or whatever, right? Now you have other people who don't really like the job. They'll come in and they'll do the work and they'll go home. They'll come in when you say to come in on time, but they're just there because they need the paycheck. So what I'm saying is that the person who really loves the job doesn't need to be told to come in early or come in on time because they want to. So what I'm saying is that the woman naturally wants to just see you, she will. So you don't have to tell her, hey, well, we're going to be exclusive and I'm going to see other women, you're not going to see other guys. Because as soon as you tell her to not do it, then you're basically saying you care about if she does. And so if you care, then therefore you're not the guy.
The thing is you if you tell her that she can and then she does, then you're not her best option.
No, if she does, that means she wanted to do it anyway. That's my whole point.
Which means she was not her best option.
So what I'm saying is any woman who doesn't see another guy is because, like, remember I said women only do things that benefit them.
I agree.
Right. So what I'm saying is if she doesn't see another dude, it's because she doesn't want to. But what I'm saying is you making the declaration that this is exclusive and you can't do it. Right. What I'm saying is the fact that she feels that you're going to feel some type of way about her doing it doesn't make her see you as the guy. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm saying is if you tell her that she can, regardless if she does or doesn't do it, it automatically communicates to her that you're not her best option.
Yeah, I was going to say 90% of the time they're not going to want to do it anyway, at least in our position. But it doesn't keep us from obviously laying out the framework to begin with, because we don't ever want it to come back and sit there and say, "Well, you never said I couldn't." I mean,
right, but that's my point. But that's what I'm saying. My point is that you're worried about if she will.
No, you're not necessarily worried about it.
You're making two different points, and I don't know if you guys noticed that. Locario is right, and you're right also. Locario is right in the sense that, like, anything that you put as a condition on a woman, she generally is going to challenge you on it. Right. I think in red pill world, they call it shit tests. She will shit test you on whatever you put up as a barrier to her. I mean, I agree with him on that, but at the same time, I agree with Rob also, because
I think it's also called an occupation test.
There you go.
and this is the thing. I'm not saying that you're wrong for telling her she can't. What I'm saying is telling her she can or can't is irrelevant because she's always going to do what she wants. And so what I'm saying is the only detriment to telling her she can't is that now she sees you as, well, wait a second. Okay, he's one of these guys. Because this is the thing. If the woman is thinking, why doesn't he care? And I've had this happen a bazillion times. when there were women I was dating, seeing, you know, in relationships, whatever, and they'd be like, oh, you know, I can't, you know, I'm not going to be available next week. I'm like, all right, that's cool, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do this. All right, cool, no problem. And I had multiple women say, why don't you care that I'm doing this? Why don't you? And so they're like, why don't you care? And that's the thing that gets them in their head, because if he doesn't care, then, and the other guys do, then what does that say? That say he's different. That means he's the top guy. Most other guys care. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's what I'm saying. Most other guys will commit to monogamy only. So by the fact that I'm telling you, you're going to be exclusive, and I may or may not be exclusive, you're automatically telling them that you don't care if they stick around, because that means I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah. See, I think that's where the disconnect is, because
But
what he's
listen,
talking about is conditions and dread, but at the same time, you see, this is conditions and dread, and I don't disagree with that either. You know, conditions and dread are necessary.
If you tell them,
part of the game.
If you tell them that, listen, I'm going to not be exclusive and you can go do what you want to do too, you're automatically telling them that you're not their best option.
We always say the biggest power play you have is the ability to walk away.
Absolutely.
This is also why we don't unequally yoke ourselves to non-believers either. You know,
I agree with the
vetting process.
We just thing. Yeah. What I'm just saying is the perception the woman has is because anytime you put, so this is what it is. You have a structure of how you do your relationship, right? Which is fine, which is what you should have. What I'm saying is that anything that she's doing within that structure to basically follow you and maintain that is awesome. Now, what I'm saying is if you talk about something outside the structure, in other words, if I own McDonald's and this person's working for me at McDonald's, and I say, hey, well, I'm gonna own McDonald's, I'm gonna go to Target, and I'm gonna own another company called JCPenney, right? And then what happens is that person saying, well, you know what, I might want to work part-time at fucking Toys R Us or some shit, right? I shouldn't give a damn about Toys R Us. All I should give a damn about is McDonald's, Target, and whatever other company I'm doing, and her working in that company. So as soon as I talk about something outside of the structure that I've built, what I'm saying is I care about that thing fucking up my structure. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that if I'm dealing with a woman, if we're in a relationship, right, and it's going to be non-monogamous, and I'm going to have sex with other women, I would say, hey, listen, I just want you to know that you being here with me, I'm going to be having sex with other women, period. I'm not even saying about what she's going to do. I'm just saying this is what I'm doing so that you understand what's going on here. So that when I go out and fuck another girl, you understand that that's happening, and I don't want to hear no lip about it. Right now, I'm not telling her what she shouldn't do outside the situation. The only issue is if what she's doing outside the situation fucks up the structure I built, then we have an issue.
I think what you communicate, even non-verbally, when you allow them to also be non-monogamous, is that we need to make this fair, because if I don't make it fair, you may not stick around.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You can't. That's the illusion.
The man says, you're the fucking man, and you are that exceptional that you say, I'm going to be, I may or may not be exclusive, but you're going to be exclusive if you want to be in my life. That is a high value man, because you are saying, I'm not afraid of you. I don't care if you stay or go.
But this is my point. How are you
setting the terms?
But this is what I'm saying. How are you telling a woman to not do something when she's going to do what she wants anyway? That's my point.
They won't want to, but by you saying that I'm going to do this and you can do it too, you're automatically telling them that you need to make it a level playing field, or you're afraid that they're not going to stick around and put up.
No, that's not what it is. No, okay, let me ask you a question.
You are the exceptional high man when you could say, I may not be exclusive to you, but you're going to be exclusive to me, or you're not in my life.
So Rob, if you have rules and boundaries and guidelines, right, is that pertaining to you?
I don't understand the question.
So meaning let's say, for example, you're in a relationship with a woman, right? And you have certain guidelines, certain ways you do things or whatever. You say, okay, every Sunday we're going to go to church because, I'm cool with the pastor or whatever. I'm a pastor, we do this. And then every Saturday we're going to be doing this. And then we're going to have kids. And so everything you're talking about is rules, guidelines, and a structure in your situation between you and her.
It's
right?
It's my framework, my paradigm.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, what does what she's doing outside of that have to do with you?
What I don't understand the question.
So what I'm saying is, what is what she's doing outside of? So let's say, for example, she goes on a trip with her girlfriends to Tahiti,
and she gets AIDS.
No. Exactly. Thank you. Perfect. I'm glad you said that. Now, if she gets AIDS, that affects you. Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Now, if she doesn't get AIDS, does it affect you?
Well, again, here now we're back to the game of this. What if she gets pregnant?
No. I'm just asking it as hypothetical. What I'm
What
saying
if she does?
My whole point is.
Now let me ask you though. What if she does get pregnant?
No, and that affects you. That's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm saying is, if the thing doesn't, that's my point. What I'm saying is that if it doesn't affect you,
I think it does affect me.
Okay, so what I'm
if she goes out and fucks, if she goes runs a train, 10 guys run a train on her while she's on vacation. I think it affects me whether she gets pregnant or.
Oh, that's okay. You're right, because I remember y'all think pair bonding and all that other shit. Right?
100%. Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense in your definition.
I happen to believe in science. I don't know. Call me crazy.
As a gun owner, if I'm away and my kids come out and play with my gun, regardless whether they ended up shooting themselves or not, did it affect me? Yes, it does. I don't want my kids playing with my guns. That's why I lock them up.
That's a very good example, because I was thinking that actually I was like, it does affect you in the sense that like this is someone who's risking your health. They're a person that's not making really good decisions when it comes.
Okay, so if she doesn't make good decisions, why is she a woman?
That's why I'd send her away if she did that.
That's why. That's why we set the terms.
So what's what I'm saying?
Decision making and sleep with 100 people.
No, but this is where we come back to the same thing. That's what I'm saying. There's a disconnect because your idea of not good decisions is the actual sex. My idea of not good decisions is how does it affect the actual situation? And so what I'm saying is it affects the actual situation for you because sex within itself, because like if your girl goes on a trip, has sex with a guy for 7 minutes, comes back, doesn't have an STD, she's not pregnant. You would never know one, and it doesn't affect your actual marriage because when she comes back, she's doing the same exact thing she was doing in the marriage. So what I'm saying is that how does what she does outside of that situation that doesn't come back to the situation affect you?
Well, I think it does affect you. Look, how long were you in a relationship in your non-monogamous relationship, and now you're 44 and single?
I'm not single, but even if I was, what difference would it make? You see what I'm saying? And that didn't affect me. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that me divorcing my wife had nothing to do with non-monogamy. Like nothing. It had everything to do with something else in the relationship where I ended it. What I'm talking about is how does the actual sex, like I didn't have a divorce because I said, man, you know what? You had sex with another guy and that affected our situation. And that's why I can't be with you anymore. Us getting divorced had nothing to do with that. Because she was doing that for 15 years. So how was I with her for 15 years when she was fucking other dudes and we were together for 15 years?
That's a great question.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So how does that actually affect your situation?
Well, if she's not allowed to do it and it's not permissible by the initial framework, then at the bottom line, it's a blatant display of distrust. I can't trust her. If I can't trust her with this, well, what else can I trust her with? Am I helping her? Again, women are helpmates to my mission. So if I have her helping me run my business or anything else that I've given her, tasked her with to accomplish what it is that I need to accomplish as a man, and I know she went off with this dude for 7 minutes, whatever it was, and just because she didn't have any immediate repercussions, then bottom line is she kept that from me. She lied. So
no, again, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's my point. My point is she lied to you under the framework of you telling her what not to do. Do you understand? And so what I'm saying is this: her not doing it this is what I'm saying. She would never have sex with another man if it doesn't benefit her and that's what she wants to do. What I'm saying is you telling her not to is irrelevant because she's going to do what she wants to do anyway. So either she's going to do it or she's never going to do it. And what I'm saying is her doing it or never going to do it has nothing to do with you telling her she can't. That's my point. So what I'm saying is by you telling her she can't, it shows her that you care about if she does it or not, which means that you have some sort of feeling about it happening, which means you can't be the top guy because the top guy don't give a fuck about what women are doing.
No. Yes, he does. The top guy is the one that would lay out an unequal playing field. The top guy was not afraid to tell them that this is what I'm going to do, and you're not going to do that, or you can see the.
But you can't tell women what not to do. That's my point.
You can. Yes, you can.
That's what kings did. All kings did that.
You lay the terms out. You lay the terms out.
Locario to a degree. This is what I said earlier. You set conditions and she either follows them and she stays your woman, or she
Right.
does what she wants and she's not your woman.
100%.
Exactly. You just get rid
100%.
of her. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying
100%.
is, so what I'm saying is, I'm not
Fundamentally, I don't
saying that,
disagree here with
right.
this.
I'm not saying that it's a wrong thing for her to only be with you exclusively. What I'm saying is that the idea of telling her that she can't do this, because check this out, Rob, check this out. If you say to the woman, right, I want an exclusive relationship, but I'm gonna go hook up with other women on the side. You've essentially told her not to fuck other dudes, right?
But this mentality it contradicts the high value male mentality.
100%.
Like again, we come back. You're a high value male. You have the what the
hell's a high value male?
You have the luxury, the pleasure. You have the benefit of being in my life, and these are my conditions to enter into my life.
Yes.
And part of that condition is this: that there is exclusivity. What nobody else gets to touch what's mine. Now, when you just say anybody can have it, where's the high value in that? Again,
100%.
It's like, I'm a high value guy, but any guy, including that bum on the street over there, can hit.
So so this is what I'm saying. How are you the top dude when you're putting her on the pedestal?
Here, let me say one thing, Craig.
It's not a pedestal. You're the pedestal.
Craig.
No, but you're putting her on the pedestal because you're saying,
no,
I don't want anyone to touch my precious thing.
Yeah. No one said anything about precious.
No, but that's what you're saying.
No,
you're basically saying.
I don't know whether you're upside down.
Let's use Poland as an example.
I would say
let me say one thing.
A queen is precious.
Okay, so wait. So now let me ask you a question. Let's rewind this. Let's bring this back to guys first meeting women in the nightlife, at the club, they're dating women and all this other stuff, right? Now, which guy is the one who is most attractive? The guy who wonders where she was at, who she was with, and what she's doing outside of him, or the guy who don't give a fuck?
Nobody's talking about being insecure. What a real man does is a masculine frame is to be able to set and enforce boundaries. If you don't tell her what the boundary is, how does she know? It's like a child. You say you're punished,
right, but the boundary has to be about you.
No, you say you're punished because you ran in the street. Well, you never told me I shouldn't run in the street. You got to tell the child what the boundaries are.
Right, but the boundaries has to be about your structure.
Exactly,
that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. It's my structure. You said if she goes out and she gets AIDS or she gets pregnant, well, it affects my life. Well, no shit, it affects my life.
Then you get rid of her.
You do get rid of her, but I don't even want to put myself in a position where I'm fucking to
but
go
what
with
I'm
AIDS.
But what I'm saying is you're talking about getting AIDS. I'm talking about fucking. I'm not talking about AIDS. I'm talking
How
about
do you
just
think
fucking.
people get AIDS?
No, but people who are fucking, just because you're fucking, that don't mean you get AIDS. What I'm saying is she fucks, there's no AIDS. She's clean as a whistle. And
Come on, the AIDS can be administered through fucking vaccines, man. Okay.
That's all I'm saying. What I'm saying, see, you're going to the extremes. I'm talking about.
I am going to the extremes.
I'm talking about the women who can fuck and not get AIDS. That's what I'm talking about.
The fact that you don't tell them that they have to be exclusive automatically tells them that you're not their best option because you're not like you're giving them.
So you think a woman? Hold on, wait. So you think a woman thinks her best option is the guy that is trying to hold on tight to her?
I think a man that shows that he's not afraid of her is she knows that.
But you are. That's why you're telling her what she can't do.
You're not afraid of her. No, you wouldn't tell her. You wouldn't. No, a man that promises monogamy. A man that promises
single neighbor can fuck his wife. I don't see zero value in that. And you don't feel bad. And because I don't feel some way about it, I'm high value. Because when I go outside my house, my 13 neighbors come by, they run a train on my wife, and I come home and hey, it doesn't affect me. It's cool. You know, I'm high value. That's why I find that very
upside down. I
find that very strange. So, like I said, you have a unique mentality that I've never heard before.
No, but this is what I'm trying to get. Like I said earlier, if a woman meets a man and one guy has sex with her and doesn't call it a rested week, and another guy takes her on a date, he's texting her throughout the week, what's going on? How are you? Good morning, queen, all this other stuff. And then he sees her again and he's like, so are you seeing any other dudes? And blah, blah, blah. Like he is the less attractive out of the two. So what I'm saying is that translates and carries over to this situation. Because essentially what you're saying to the woman, because you're saying monogamous guys are the ones who are like trying to hold on and on some beta male shit, right?
You're saying, let me get to the point, because you're saying that by telling a woman that she's going to be exclusive to you, and you may or may not be exclusive to her, that you're insecure. And I'm saying, no, that's the ultimate security in yourself, because you're saying, I don't care if you stick around. I realize that these rules aren't fair. I get to, and you do not. That's the ultimate security.
So if you don't care that she stick around, then why are you worried about what she's doing outside the situation?
Because I don't want to get AIDS. How about that?
Okay, so if you couldn't
possibility.
get AIDS, would you be okay with it?
If you could win the Powerball,
No, I'm just
every-
asking. I'm just asking hypothetically because every time when a
Again,
person
we
has
can-
sex,
we
they don't
can-
get AIDS. I'm
I know,
saying
I'm
if you
saying.
couldn't get AIDS, you'd be fine with it.
I'm confused. What's the difference between the guy who cares and the guy that doesn't? The guy
Because
who doesn't care, his
I'ma tell
wife
you the
sleeps
difference.
around. The guy who does care, his wife sleeps around.
The
They're
guy
same
that doesn't
dude.
care is insecure. The guy that doesn't care if his
They're
wife
the
wants
same
other
dude.
dudes.
She's sleeping around on him, whether he
He's
cares or
super-
he doesn't care.
He's insecure.
How
He
is
needs
one
to
higher
let
value than the other with that logic?
he needs to let
Super
other dudes
chat.
bang. He needs to let other dudes bang his wife in order to keep her around. That's super.
That's
insecure.
funny. That's hilarious.
chat,
I mean, well,
super
it's
chat.
no,
Wait.
you know what? It's interesting that that's the thought process of it, because what happens is that women. Why do you think women like the bad boys? Because they care or they don't give a shit.
Because they don't care.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that the actions you're taking when you're telling the woman, "Well, I don't want you to do this," that's caring.
No,
That's what I'm trying to say.
because you
No,
tell her
but
if you
the-
sleep around, you gotta go, and
the
you
fact-
don't care if she goes.
You're
still the bad
insecure.
boy.
No, you're not. You're not the bad boy telling the chick.
Okay. We got a super chat here from
By
London
letting other
Age.
men-
The top dude doesn't mind his woman having fun with guys she's attracted to. Why get with a woman if she's not committed to one partner?
Isn't that ironic? The one partner thing, we're talking about non-monogamy, but you know, that's interesting to me.
I have no
But
problem with monogamy. If a guy wants to be monogamous, I personally don't have a problem with that. Just make sure it's on your terms. I think anything you do with a woman, it needs to be on your terms, whether it's
I agree.
and women. You know, so I have no, just for anybody in the chat, I don't care if you're monogamous, if you're celibate, whatever else, that's your business. You know, I don't care. I don't care if a man, when we talk about value, I do hold a different position when it comes to value in terms of women and how many partners she has. But I don't care. It's like if it's a single mother, as long as she's not like 3 baby daddies or something like this, I don't even care about that. It's like I don't really get into what a man does. But you know, I do take contention with a woman who obviously is very callous with her body. I wouldn't be callous with my money, you know, and I think the body that she has more value than the money that I earn because, you know, so that's just my thing, you know. I don't know.
Can we all agree that a high value guy can be able to walk away from the woman and still occupy
Absolutely.
that pussy?
It's necessary sometimes.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, it's called alpha widows, right? Isn't that what they call it in the red pill? Isn't that what they call it? Alpha widows.
That's so it's so funny though with the high value man stuff, because it's I feel like it's very subjective, because even with the conversation back and forth, it's like you're saying the high value guy is the one that is telling the woman what she can't do, and I'm saying that the guy who's the top guy is not telling her what she can and can't do. He's just showing her the structure of his relationship, and either she's with that structure or she's not.
Exactly. We're saying the same thing. The structure.
Right, but the thing is, your
structure
structure
of the
is about
relationship-
you, not other men,
The
and what she's
structure of
doing
the-
outside.
The structure of the relationship is me not being exclusive and you being exclusive. I'm showing you the structure, and you either step into my frame or you.
Any man of value has standards for himself and those around him. All of them.
You
I
have standard
agree.
value.
For him, okay, let's take sex out of it, because I think the sex is blinding us. If I say, hey, I want this woman that I'm with to clean my house up, right? And I want it cleaned up every Friday before 6 p.m., right? And she cleans the house every Friday before 6 p.m. Why would I give a fuck if she's cleaning somebody else's house on Tuesday? As long as the house is cleaned Friday at before 6 p.m., what difference does it make?
No, I think this is a false comparison of what I'm talking about. Well, it's not false. No, let me not say that. It's a comparison that's being made that we fundamentally can't agree upon because we have different values, ethics.
Right. That's exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So my comparison would be this: a man of high value that has standards for those of himself and around him, taking sex out of the picture. When you don't get to be a criminal and be around me. Yeah. I have standards. You don't take criminal actions, whether prior to this or currently, and get to be in my circle.
No, I'm glad you said that. And that's my point. My point is that it's equating sex to being a criminal, which is in essence goes right back to what we were talking about of demonizing sex, feeling like sex is this special thing.
Sex.
No, but why'd you go to criminal? Why, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's just for standards. It's
right, but that's what I'm saying.
I don't want a woman who drinks or smokes.
Right, and I get that. And that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there is a like when it comes to sex, I don't know. Like, you see what I'm saying? So, meaning what I'm saying is this: you're saying we're exclusive, right? So, if we're exclusive and you could see other women, those other women that you're seeing, what are you doing with those other women? You're having sex with them. You're dating them. Like, what are you doing with these other women?
I'm not doing that. I'm personally going to.
I have to marry them. I'm a Muslim.
I'm going to marry them. Yeah.
Okay, so you're seeing other women to make them your wives, type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see, and I'm glad you said that. That's what a disconnect is. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if that's the case, I agree with y'all, because I'm thinking of it on the concept of, I thought you meant I'm seeing other women and we just fucking and I'm coming home to you and that's it. If you're looking for a wife, then that makes sense, because you're like, why are you going out to look for another husband? You already got me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I agree with that.
No, that's what I said earlier. A woman can't serve two masters. So yeah, that's where the disconnection is.
Right. That's what I was like. So this is why we got to talk. This is why.
Yeah.
But let me be clear.
I'm on the other side of the street. Y'all on this side. I'm like, that's crazy.
No, but let me be clear. I'm not a Puritan. I mean, I'm absolutely a fan of sex. I think it's a great thing. Women love sex. The women in my life love sex. I love sex with them and everything like this. I think this is normal, and I think it's healthy to enjoy it. I just think, what is it? What is the saying? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. When it comes down to like just having partners left and right. We do. I think we do need to put limitations on everything that we do to a degree. Everything can be overdone, including sex. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I think this is good that clarification was made, because when you guys are interacting with women, there's a more complex or deeper purpose to the situation, versus when and I know you guys probably get this too, where a lot of people, when you say non-monogamy, they think like, oh, you just want to fuck a bunch of other women, and you see what I'm saying? So that's kind of like where the disconnect was. I was looking at it from the standpoint of, oh, just like I'm just hooking up with Stacy that I met at the bar, and then and that's it.
Yeah, that's why I go as far as to say, when you look at the story, the backstories, for me and Rob especially, it's like, no, wait a minute, we were getting far more pussy when we were single, not taking responsibility from, it's like, oh, you just want to marry multiple women so you can have more. No, if I wanted to live selfishly, I'd stay single, because I was getting far more play when I was single, just doing whatever the hell I wanted to do without having the responsibility of it all. But now we're forced to date women with the purpose of marrying them. So yes, now that's where
right. Okay, that makes sense. I agree. I totally agree with that shit.
All right, super chat from Gabrielle Blast. Shout out Game Global. Locario is absolutely right. Attractive man don't lease women. This high value man rhetoric is a social media fallacy matrix.
Let me just say, look, when I talk about high value or sexual marketplace value, that's determined by women, not us. I don't determine what makes a man high value. If women are choosing a man, it doesn't matter what he looks like or how much money he makes, he's high value, because women are determined. The market determines the man's value, not us. So it's just a placeholder. People get hung up on terms. If I use alpha, oh my God, I can't believe he said. Let me just finish what I'm saying. He said, I can't believe he used the word alpha. Like, it's just a word to communicate an idea. So like high value, if women are choosing that man, it's high value. It's not something that I decided.
Yeah, I think what comes in terms of confusion is like high value when it comes to men is contextual. It's very situational for women. The high value man is the top dog at the office. But then when you go into a social scene like a bar, the guy in the office who's the top dog and he's walking around the man, he's nobody in the bar. Right. Then the guy that's the top dog in the bar, he's nobody in the gym. Right. So it's very these are like placeholder terms, really. It's not really, I'm not going to be the top high value man everywhere I go. And I accept that, So I think there's a misunderstanding. It's not like, some term to hang on to and build your entire character off of your personality. That's a bit crazy.
Leftist religious women would see me and Rob as at the bottom of the totem pole. We would not be a high valued men to them at all. We'd be the scum.
Unless you had blue hair and went to Starbucks.
we're the scum of the earth, in that sense. But if, again, you find a woman who is a God-fearing woman who wants to live by biblical terms or whatever, then yes, we're going to be considered a high-valued, commodity in that sense. So, I mean, I just, like you said, it's one man's trash, is another one's treasure.
Real quick before I leave, though, I wanted to ask you guys, because I'm curious, what type of pushback? Because I know y'all get pushback. What type of pushback do you get, and what's like the worst things you've heard from people based on your lifestyle? Because I'm curious about that shit.
Well, mainly the biggest pushback we get is probably from, again, the fellow secular Christians that we have,
Mm.
you know, that believe in you know, God's word as innate, and it becomes a theological debate on what the scripture actually says, you know, and we
Mm.
push all the time back with, you know, that's because unfortunately most people are not willing to do the deep dive. They're not willing to scratch beyond just what surface level scripture says, which is written in English. We study in Paleo Hebrew and Koine Greek, and actually dive into lexicons and concordance to see what was actually written in the original written languages.
Mm.
And we've found all kinds of, you know, again, false doctrine and fallacies that have been pushed by the modern secular church that says that this is not what the scripture actually says. But if you don't want to take the time to actually read it, you know, that saying it's easier to, show somebody or fool. It's easier to fool somebody than to convince somebody that they've been fooled. And
Mm.
that's basically what we run into
Right.
all the time is people don't want to ever admit that, hey, we got it wrong. And
Mm.
I know because I used to debate this from their position until I actually did the deep dive search myself. And that's why me and Rob tell everybody, don't take our word for it. You know, if you want to study it, go see for yourself. We will happily point you in the direction, and then you guys go read it for your own self. Don't shoot the messenger. We didn't write the book. We're just following it.
That's
Pushback
interesting.
that I get the most is from two groups. Women who hate that, you know, a guy, jealous women who can't stand the idea of a guy being with like multiple women,
Mm.
and men who want to do it and can't. And
Mm.
they probably have more emotional hate than the women themselves,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
Those are the guys. They'll come with ethics and morals that like would shadow mine in a way that, you know, like the way we're debating ethics and morals here.
Mm.
That's how they come at me. And it's like, you know, there's nothing against it in terms of like, you know, because these will be Muslims. And it's like, hey, guy, you can't argue this one.
Right.
So for me, that's the biggest pushback I get, you know, from women and men who can't do it. And when I say can't do it, these guys they'll swear up and down. They you know, I'm
Mm.
monogamous. I want to be monogamous. And you know, I compare it to McDonald's and a guy in jail. And the guy looks out the bars of his window and he sees all the people going to McDonald's. He said, I'd never eat that trash. It's
Mm.
horrible. It's bad. It's junk food. It's like, no, you can't eat that trash. You're in jail.
Right.
Right? And those, you know, so these are the guys. It's like you in jail, man.
Right.
You even joke about it. Your woman's gonna cut your head off, and you're scared. You're terrified. So don't lecture me, man, about what I'm doing is this or that, whatever else. You can't even have this conversation with your woman. You can't bring it up, let alone dream about the idea that you're actually gonna execute.
Mm.
So that's where I get the most pushback personally.
100%. Women and
Yeah.
weak men. Definitely.
Mm.
Women because it takes away their power. You know, like personally, I believe that, and if you go to Genesis, there was a curse pronounced on mankind by God, and he said, your desire will be for your husband. He was talking to the woman. He said, your desire will be for your husband, but he will rule over you. So you'll have a desire to rule over him, but he's going to rule over you. So monogamy only creates this egalitarianism where it kind of puts us on a level playing field where we're kind of equals, which is what I was saying to you. And I'm glad we got to that point about the marriage. That was the thing that we were missing with each other. But it kind of messes things up because it eliminates the polarity in the relationship. Now, women, because of the curse, they tried to get the power. Monogamy only gives them a lot of power because they're only, I'm not in the mood. I got a headache. The only time that man can have sex, she says when.
Right.
Polygyny eliminates that, right? It puts the man as the power, as the head of the relationship. And because of the curse, they hate the idea of it. But in all actuality, it's better for the relationship because it pushes them into their feminine. It creates the polarity, and it kind of divorce proofs their relationship on some level because he's in his masculine, now she's in her feminine, and now they're a little bit stickier than they would have been under monogamy. So this is why women hate the idea of polygyny because it subjugates them to their proper place, I would say, and weak men hate it because it decreases their likelihood of access to the sexual marketplace because they know, wait a second, if that guy gets two, that means some man is not going to get one. That man might get eight. And now, but in reality, and this is a fascinating study that came out, is in countries where polygyny was more common, there were fewer unmarried men, not more. So, and this is what I say to even like men who think, I think they're thinking selfishly because they're arguing against polygyny because of their own self-interest. But I say what they don't realize is that a guy, what some people say there's 80% of the women sleeping with 20% of the men, or 90-10. Some people say whatever the number is, there's more women, the majority of women sleeping with the minority of men. Those men that they're choosing, those high level men or exceptional men, as you would say, a lot of times they have rosters. Okay, they have 6, 7, 8 girls that they're sleeping with once every week or two, and because the way women are wired, many of them, for exclusivity, even if you tell them they can, they're oftentimes won't. And you probably know this. They're not even looking at their real sexual marketplace value equal. So let's say you consider yourself a 9, Mr. Locario. Most guys that will date and sleep down. I mean, I know I've slept with women that I wouldn't even tell my friends about. Like, I was just horny. But in general, like if you're a 9, you may date an 8 or 7.5. Okay, but that 7.5 woman now that you're dating as a 9 man, she thinks, well, he's a 9. I deserve a 9 husband because he's a 9 is having sex with me. So now her actual second sexual market value equal that 7.5 man who would marry her is completely invisible to her. So this is why I tell men is look, we need to because a guy like you could run through a city of women, right? Versus just say, look, stop trying to get him into this little tiny cage called monogamy only. Let him marry 4 women. And now all those women that would have been not looking at you suddenly are now looking for their sexual marketplace value equal. This is how we fix this mess. Again, it goes back to biblical polygyny. It really is the missing piece that Satan, I believe, has blinded us all to. So I don't know how you feel about all that, but
now that's interesting. I totally see what you're saying, man. That's some interesting stuff. You know what I mean? And I feel like it comes full circle to seeing you guys' perspective on it too. You know what I mean? I think that's a very important thing for a lot of times when even topics like this come up is, you guys are doing stuff that most people aren't, so they're not going to understand it. So then they have their own thoughts on it, which is why there's a lot of pushback. But once you start like talking about it, you're like, okay, I can, even if you don't necessarily agree, I can see the reasoning and the understanding of it. So I think that's dope. You know what I'm saying? But yo, I got to head up out of here, man. I appreciate all y'all, man. This is dope. Ice White, appreciate you, man, and appreciate you, kicking it with you guys for a minute. But yeah, man. All right, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Great
Y'all
to
be
meet
safe.
you.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Nice meeting you,
Peace,
man.
peace. Later.
Okay, take it easy. See you guys.
Thanks for jumping in, guys. Catch you on the other side and game on. We're hoping to have another polygyny panel at some point featuring wives included with some of the guys that we just had, plus some others that we can find. So thanks for dropping in. Catch you guys on the other side. Game on.
Later.
Now I gotta find
There we
the button to end it. Forgot about that. Here we go.